did you do today? Oh, I designed a picture of a cow.
Yeah, you come back from the office and you're like, yeah, I made a fictional giant cow in the shape of a Picasso.
You know those 5 things you did today? Well, let me tell you. Picasso.
I don't think I got this far in the room. We kind of got annihilated by some of these trash mobs on BTR. I think we're getting into one-armed bandit territory.
We did, yeah. We should see one-armed bandit coming up here momentarily. And this is going to be, for those that weren't here at the start, the slot machine boss, right? The one that has multiple combinations of ads you can choose. I would assume when we actually get into progression here on Mythic and things, it's going to be a determined order it's best to go. Easiest to most difficult that most guilds will follow, but this is the first time we're actually seeing it here.
Can I ask a stupid question?
I don't know, stupid question.
That I don't think either of you are gonna know, but perhaps Twitch chat does. What's Xalatath up to, like lore-wise?
If you watch the cinematics?
No, see, I tried it. I tried to watch the cinematic, but then my game got disconnected midway through, so I've only seen half of it.
Basically, Gallywix is repairing the
dual
as
disc?
we call it, that was created to suck up Khadgar.
Right, okay.
So remember they kept Khadgar, and then they had the essence of Galakrond in that Dragon Soul looking disc thingy.
Okay.
I forget the name of it. And then
Right.
Valera broke it with her arrow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Valera broke it with her arrow, which released Khadgar, and it was leaking goodies that were inside. And so she needed somebody to fix it, and who else is better at fixing things than Gallywix?
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people.
I see, okay.
Honestly,
so
yes, but, you know.
Thematically, it makes sense that there's still, like, void circles and beams and stuff in here.
Yeah, so Gallywix fixed the thing.
It's not breaking
and
my
there's a
immersion.
bunch of the... What are the mummy-looking people called?
The mummy-looking people?
Yeah, the...
oh, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, though,
I
right?
think-
The Nightborn? The
No.
Withered?
They're wrapped up in cloth.
The Withered.
No. They do transmog for you.
The ethereal?
Oh.
The ethereals.
Yeah, the
Oh.
ethereals. There
So
we go.
there's a lot of ethereals that are working for Xalatath, and so they came around, they picked up
Oh.
the dark disc of Galakrond, and they gave it back to Xalatath.
Okay.
And they, for some reason, gave a lot of black blood to Gallywix to make weapons.
I
And
see.
a major part of the Sprocketmonger lock and stock encounter is using that black blood to power weapons.
Crime. We're doing crime.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they literally had a whole group of like Undermine cartels that were about to resist Gallywix.
Yeah, okay.
And then the ogre comes around with his black blood gun and then zaps him into a pulp.
Wait, so you're a lore guy then, Jack?
That's really just watching the cinematics.
Oh, okay.
It's that simple.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
You're just calling me out like that.
It's okay. You've been having a.
He's committed to the
You've been
bit.
having a harpy time.
Hey,
What does that mean?
let's not bring that up.
I don't understand.
She died to harpy. Wow.
Oh,
lot,
I
a
saw
lot.
that like 10 times, yeah.
Well, it happened about 10 times, so that's...
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's okay.
Let's talk about one-armed bandit here. We have one of the most dangerous combinations coming out, Flame and Coin, and you can see how low the raid is dropping. Oh, they have like 7 healers.
As they're not really dropping.
Should be dropping on relevant
they should
difficulties
be.
here, right? Yeah.
Correct.
You see that lightning pool coming out, which provides a bit of area of denial, which will ramp a lot towards the end of the fight, making that phase 2 DPS check pretty difficult. But before we get there, we have phase 1 to deal with. These little blue lines on the floor are actually coins the boss spits out. Standing near those will give you a damage increase, whether it's going out with the boss, or if you're a player at the wall, you kick it back at the boss. Also give the players a bit of a DPS.
I think you run faster too, right?
Maybe.
Damage, healing, might be movement as
Haste
well.
and movement
It might
speed.
be.
Could be wrong.
Yeah, there we go. A full empowerment.
Was it in a cinematic?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I only saw half of it.
Probably, let's be honest here.
They also have this foul exhaust that comes out from the boss every like 30, 40 seconds or so, which does a decent amount of damage and puts up some pretty heavy negative heal absorbs, so healers have to heal it off before they can top off players. Here's a
Awkward
really cool
spot.
part though. If you see the left top side of Dazer's screen, you're gonna see these like yellow, purple, blue icons and everything. This is indicative of which of the icons, as you can see players running them into the boss, that we have not done yet. And so there are bombs, there's coins, fire, and lightning.
Yes.
There's 4 different nodes or 4 different elements, and then you have to do all the different combinations, or at least it's a new, unique combination until the boss hits like 30, 33%.
Right. There are 6 total combinations you can do. So you can't do the same combination twice, or basically you blow up. Now, on a lower difficulty like this boss is going to see maybe 2 combinations, give or take, before it enters phase 2, which is just a, hey, the boss is going to kill you or you kill it, ramping damage, there's area of denial, but that's what's going to make this fight so unique is that you'll be able to see how different guilds want to approach this. Some combinations spawn coils that also shoot fire. Some combinations spawn coils that also pull players in and pulse AoE. So depending on how difficult they think certain overlaps may be, you'll probably see a mix of like easiest to hardest, maybe one being taken into account with healer CDs coming back up, playing that one as third or fourth option in Mythic. But on this difficulty, probably not a whole lot to see. The boss is already basically getting into phase 2 here. I believe at 30 is the push, correct, Jack? Yeah,
so it's coming in. They have one more round of assistance they need to kill off, and the boss should push basically right around this time, or the boss starts to cheat.
Yes, I'm actually curious here if we can sort of...
Yep,
so
here it
you
is.
can't double dip that. Okay, so he actually stops his spin to win cast with the ads out and just goes into this phase 2 push. So you can't milk that mechanic.
So now, instead of having to cash in the coins or lightning or anything that come from the attendants, because they're holding on to it, you need to kill them, you need to cash it into the slot machine, instead the boss just decides it on their own, and now is going to cycle between all of these different empowered abilities. And so you're going to have to deal with the empowered lightning, dropping these tether lines. You see it right on Dazer's character as he dips into it really quickly. It sets up a tether between the pylon and the boss. Stepping into that line, going to deal tons of damage.
Yep, on top of that, you have the lightning area of denial zones coming out, random fire beams just like that. He should be baited at the wall, theoretically, away from the rest of the raid. Rolling coins providing more damage, but also damage taken if you're hit by them.
Yep, the fire line's right there on Dazer. You can see he aims it outside of the group.
Yep, there we go, perfect.
Blasts onto him. So that's the second round of the empowered abilities. So we saw the empowered lightning tethers, the empowered fire, and then we were about to get into the empowered coins, which I believe is going to just pulse more damage.
I believe so.
And then finally you have an empowered bomb, which is a full raid wipe. And so when we talked before, at the beginning of this broadcast, about how this encounter could be kind of similar to a Nexus Princess Kaveza, in that it's a straightforward strategy, but could be insanely highly tuned on Mythic.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about, because you have to cycle between all of these mechanics, and then there is a really hard enrage at the very end.
All bomb means everyone dies. All bomb, all bad. Yeah. So and
Yep.
you were getting close-ish to getting there.
Was all coin AoE?
Heal through massive raid by pulsing damage. Oh, wait, more or less. Yeah, that's Jack's part of the fight. Yeah. Just heal me on.
Healer
fight
problem.
Boss, yeah. But with like the fire lines coming out, plus the lightning area of denials and the pylons ramping up, it becomes more and more difficult to meet that DPS check.
The pylon's so nasty because, especially with where they can be placed, you immediately lose massive chunks of the room that are just completely lost to you, which makes it even more difficult to position the fire. And so right off the bat, you're going to have a lot of guilds, not Liquid and not Echo, not the big dogs, but you'll see a lot of other guilds that are going to have issue with firing off those fire lines and making sure they actually have some space, because they might have to run into some lightning tethers to make sure they don't hit the raid if they're not positioned properly.
Yeah, and I think that phase 2 will be really deterministic of how many pulls one Arm Bandit is.
Right.
Like, I mean, phase 1, I think for the most part, is going to be rinse and repeat, give or take. I guarantee there's a planned pattern of what coins you want to deposit already in place.
Yeah, and it's very good for sort of like a spreadsheet fight. I know people have kind of moaned and groaned about like, oh, planning out these cooldowns and things like that, but I mean, I think you would even do that in classic environments if they're, you know, tuned highly enough that there was a major concern. That's just how it goes sometimes. And when you can plan out specifically when you want to have the highest damage coin combination, which is coin and fire, you're going to stack a ton of healing cooldowns and have that assigned. And if you get good consistency with it, when you know it's going to happen, yeah, of course you're going to spreadsheet it out. Of course you're going to plan around those things. That's just the optimal way to do it.
Yeah. So
I'm excited about Mugsy.
Too sweaty.
I am something about Mugsy here. Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting fight to see with helpers and just in general. This fight during raid testing was utterly insane. Heroic felt like Mythic. Mythic felt like I didn't even want to be in there because I just, let's get me out of here. I'll watch somebody else do it. So
I saw a screenshot of it. I didn't even know what I was looking at when I first saw it. I was like, is this World of Warcraft?
Yeah, both fights.
It's a great fight to watch somebody else do.
Yeah.
It feels like the penultimate fights for the last 3 tiers being this fight, Tinge Roll. Silken Court have been that mechanical barrage kind of encounter. This fight literally has a barrage in it. Like this is holding suit with what the last few penultimate bosses have been. And depending on how this goes here, I think it'll be good. I'm excited regardless, but I want somebody else to do it first. I don't want to be the one to plan this out. So, a bit of a recap. When it comes to Mugsy, so it's basically a 2-headed boss. There's no shared health or anything. The left side of the room is like the more mechanical side. The right side is more, I guess, like the earthen side. Probably going to call it like Mug and Z, honestly, because that sort of corresponds to what mechanics each half of the boss has. The left side's going to have those Armageddon soaks that we talked about a bit. You're going to have these ads that spawn who have shields in them as well. Need to be burnt down, do a bit of damage to the raid when they're still active. The right side of the room, make an L with my hand. Yes, right side of the room, just to verify that is the right side, has these like Gowl cages. They're the LOS cages Jack was referring to earlier, where you want to have players inside to soak the actual AoE that is done inside the cages, but at the same time, you leave players out to DPS the boss, control the mechanics to the other side as well, which you need to use to break the cages. Killing the ad in the cage and getting out before his explosion goes off is also very important.
I thought the ad was only Mythic.
I don't believe so. I think it's on everything. I could be wrong.
Jail ad?
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's ads on all the different.
I think so.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're killing off that ad, and then you quickly are going to have the frost
Spears to break the cage, right.
So let's start with the left side, though. From the very beginning, you're going to have some large AoE damage going out, and then you're going to have some big drones. The drones themselves are, once they reach 80% HP, they start taking extra damage, so you want to burn them down quickly because they do this arcing chain lightning effect, which can be really brutal. We've already seen a couple of mines spawning, and this is going to be the hot mess, spawning a big fire puddle in the middle of the room. This one is going to be really important on Mythic difficulty because you have to use that hot mess to get rid of your ice skates that are happening on the opposing.
Because they're permanent on Mythic.
Right.
Yeah, which is going to be actually insane. So that larger circle there, I believe was the tank stuff coming out, if I'm correct there, Jack? Yep. I believe so. He runs to the back of the room here. That's actually the pistol gun, which will be used on Mythic to break the mechanics on the shield that adds as well. But heading to the other side here, Jack.
Yes, very important to note that you only really spend about a minute on each side, and then you have to trade off. On higher level difficulties, every time one of those big AoEs that signals a phase change goes off, it debuffs you. And so you start taking extra damage, and it lasts about 2 minutes or so. So you want to make sure you spend a minute in that phase, a minute in the next phase, the debuff drops from the beginning, and you swap phases again. Here we have the jails, and they are guarded by these goons, and they have some nice party hats on them and stuff. And I believe on this difficulty, they just instantly break out once you kill the ads, so you just want to like jump in, destroy them, do whatever. The tank buster here is going to knock the tanks back, and that actually is causing them to drop stacks of gold. And so the tanks are getting knocked into the wall, running along the wall, and then dropping all these gold puddles all over the place.
Yeah.
Here we're going to have some of the like the ice skates going on. I don't believe on this difficulty we have the ice spheres to worry about. And so they're just kind of dancing around, spreading out that damage, make sure they spread out.
Yep, and we're heading back to that old lightning side here, the iron side, whatever you want to call it, with that large bundle coming in, dodging right there. We should have a bit of AoE coming here, I believe. After this,
and
we
the
have
drones.
Yeah, so the drones will be spawning here as well. You said 80% is when they become vulnerable to more damage taken. Besides that, it's honestly at this point it's sort of rinse and repeat. But the boss, I believe, becomes empowered with both abilities around this threshold. I think this is further than I saw on testing.
I want to say it's around 20 or 30%.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, here you can see the mines. Interestingly enough, there's no soaks on normal difficulty, and so all they have to do is soak them, and they get a heal absorb onto their character. So all you have to do is make sure you get that soak. Now we have entered into that final phase where it's called Mug and Z together. Big AoE coming into it, and you're gonna have to watch out for these bullets.
Oh, the double gun, yeah, the finger gun and the lightning frontal. That's actually pretty interesting.
So you can see everyone stacked up together, dodging some of these lightning puddles going out, and then now you have to deal with the combo mechanics.
It's like constant movement in this phase too. You don't stop moving.
Yep.
There's constant area of denial with lightning mechanic coming out, and there's like double gun blast here as well. Yeah, that's actually pretty crazy. This is going to be, I think, this like hits hard in Rage at 20 here as well.
Here comes the mines.
Yeah, here comes
I was wondering when we were going to get to that point.
Right, yeah.
Thankfully, all players have to do is run into the mines, spawns the heal absorb onto their characters. Since it's just normal, they're able to clear out those heal absorbs no problem. And they've got access to Spirit Link Totem to help them out along the way. So instead of having the ice lances on their characters, you can just see the circles that are spawning around them. They don't have to aim the ice lances at anything. And then they're going to get the Earthbreaker jails once again, drop them off onto big piles of players, burn down those little
break
goons.
the cages, get out, yep. And the boss should be dead around this point, too. The ice gates are similar to Sonarth, actually, from Vaulted Incarnates, right? They're not permanent on normal Heroic, but on Mythic, you have to clear them using this big fire soak, which is actually going out right there in the back of the room.
Yeah, it might be a little scary if they do another Bullet Storm because they're kind of running out of space, but 3% left onto the boss, and it's going to fall right over. I like how they've adjusted this fight since PTR, too.
Yeah, a decent bit. I mean, just to clarify, those cages that went out there on the iron side, the left side here, typically only correspond to that dark side of the room, the brown side over there, the earthen side, until you hit that Mug and Z phase, where both are active at the same time. And that's when things become pretty hectic, trying to control multiple adds, multiple finger guns, multiple cages going out with the bomb spawning as well. Normal, not too difficult. But
Did you see the health breakpoint for when it pushes
I thought
into
it was
the final phase?
I thought it was. I know at 20 he began emoting. I thought it was like.
It's like another enrage.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it was like 30 or 40, but I couldn't tell exactly.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting into Gallywix.
40%. Yeah, 40. So. Yeah, Gallywix has actually not been seen anywhere. This has not been tested on PTR. We know what happens in the Dungeon Journal to a certain extent. We have not seen this boss anywhere in the world publicly. Privately, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
That junk maker mob that we're fighting right now, that's also the achievement that you get for the new Keystone, I think it's Legend. It's like 3K achievement, so it's a pretty cool amount too. And of course, the boss itself at Gallywix is going to have the boss as the mythic mount. Probably one of the coolest we've had in a while.
Yeah, there's both that and I think the Rick Reverb mount's the rare one from Gallywix, which drops on A difficulty.
Watch THD. Is the platform going to fall on him? Is he going to like
that happen?
randomly
He made
drop?
it.
I don't know.
He
It'd be
made
pretty
it.
funny though.
Yeah, there's no problems there.
They like pull the boss and like the platform despawns. And
Yeah, so we're not actually very sure on how this fight works. So we've seen the Dungeon Journal. We know a handful of things that are happening. As far as DPS is concerned, there's going to be these Sentry and Technician adds to spawn in that need to be killed before they basically just become too powerful and wipe your raid. We know there's an intermission as well, with a bit of a shield phase in it, but we haven't seen much of this fight at all.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how, if they have an approach for this fight already just totally broken down, like experimentally we have this design, or it's going to go in here and have YOLO this fight. Because there's also Help Person here as well.
Yeah.
there are, and I think a good bit of this is going to be thinking on your feet and just making sure that you survive. As some of the mechanics that you haven't seen before are going to be going out, so I hope I hope you have a dungeon journal at the ready to be able to see what's going to be happening here.
I mean, I got a little bit.
I was gonna say, is there anything on it?
I've got me. So I know there's going to be a bomb the tanks need to clear as well, which is going to be, I don't know when that spawns exactly. A lot of areas are now coming out here with that frontal going out as well. Look at that. Holy cow.
That's huge.
There's a huge soak that they have to take care of too. I think that they just didn't have everybody getting into the soak fast enough.
Did we lose players?
Oh, they lost one player. So they're getting him up. They're getting him up.
It's like rapid barrage mechanics here
Cone
too.
soak they got to take care of.
Frontals go. Jeez.
Good lord.
Bombs everywhere.
Is this heroic or
It's
normal?
normal.
This is normal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. I want to know what the skybox looks like. This room is cool.
So you get, this is the pulsing ray damage from the actual gun mechanic there. You're going to have this frontal coming out. Is this like a frontal? Is it a soak? It actually is a soak there. Yeah, so it's a quarter of the room, area of denial, soak in a sense. Link coming down here is about to survive that. A lot of ray damage coming out.
Fascinating thing about THD's UI, and a couple of these Raiders UI, is they have some custom code that's changing around the boss's cast. And so whenever there's mechanics that need to be soaked, it actually changes the name of it. You can see it's called Cone Soak. I don't think that's just the name of the baseline ability. I believe they have it changed specifically for their UI.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're having like these venting heats going off, pulsing ray damage at the same time that they need to have a lot of big AoE soaks. So the combo of damage is happening really quickly and consistently. It seems like since it is adding a debuff to everybody, they just need to make sure they're alternating between like half the raids soaking at a time.
Yeah, it's a tank frontal. You have to alternate basically.
So yeah, it looks like they just have two parties, each on one side. They're alternating with some of those soaks and then dropping these big bad bunch of bombs.
Yep. Yeah.
So what you're going to probably need is you're going to have these two groups, and they're going to always need to move like clockwise, so that one group soaks, and then whenever they're having, for example, the next round like big bunch of bombs, they can just continuously be rotating around each other throughout this encounter.
So the boss is hitting full energy here, which I believe signals his phase 2 transition as well.
Yeah,
Which, from what I
adds out.
understand, should have the same amount of mechanics in phase 1. We have adds spawning in here as well, with a handful of other coils spawning in, which make things even more interesting. These technicians need to be burnt down quickly as well, or they will actually overpower your raid. Giga Blast 1. Yeah, technicians are killed, so that's actually worthwhile.
There's bombs coming out.
There should be the same mechanics in phase 1 with these coils being active here as well.
Okay, so THD picks up one of those bombs. It does put a dot onto the players. They need to load up the bombs onto the side platforms.
Very cool.
This is so cool.
I wonder if they need to actually kill those Giga controls, or if they're automatically going to be taken care of by dropping those bombs on them. All right, so okay, you can see the different locations they need to drop them off onto.
What, you think you've won?
There should be a handful of fused canisters on the floor as well here, I believe, which have a healing debuff on them. I can't see, is that what they're picking up here or no?
Looks like a bomb.
I think they failed with one of the bombs. So it does actually put out a debuff onto the entire raid about 300k a second. It's really nasty. They had only one, but thankfully they only had one of those.
Yeah, so this is going to be his intermission phase here again at 50% health. So not a whole lot of phase 2 going on here, but he's going to enter an intermission here.
You have to pick up those bombs so that you're going to be able to stop the boss and interrupt it when he casts Total Destruction.
Got it. There we go, okay.
So you're using these bombs as an interrupt tool. And we have blaze lines.
Oh.
Okay, we have blaze lines on top of having to dodge circles. So really, really fast, bursty movement there. Here, what, spread soaks? 3 different groups of soaks that need to go out for the players before time expires.
Yeah, you should have even a bigger batter bomb blast here, which is upgraded big bad bunch of bombs.
They're also black blood soaks. So that means
Are there?
negative
Okay.
heal absorbs. So those
Interesting.
3 that need to soak were all negative heal absorbs.
Okay. So was that across the whole raid or on 3 players?
Well, there's 3 different soaks that need to be done.
Right.
And so you probably need to have 6 or 7 people in this 30-man to do it.
Okay, got it. Yeah, there's a set of blaze lines there as well. Boss is at 20. What's the threshold there? Is that just?
That was 35%, it looked like. And
Okay.
so he's starting to get the technicians, which are trying to repair
Right.
him as he gets out of his bot suit. And then he's, of course, firing off of these Giga Blasts that just need to be dodged.
Interesting. A new set of bombs spawning behind us here as well, which need to be taken care of. EHG not grabbing one here, running out, but they should be taken care of regardless. One spawning behind the boss right there, being grabbed and brought out to that conveyor belt also. Do you have another set of ads spawning in here also?
Here's another round of the Black Blood soaks.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Yep. You can see players are spreading themselves out. You're going to see these little debuffs onto the frames popping off. They need to make sure they heal through it, and they've got a lot of shamans to help with Spirit Link. We're about to get another big AoE coming out as well, and I have not yet seen another round of the Blaze Lines.
I'm not sure if that overlaps every. This is the frontal coming up? Oh, tank frontal got that. Okay. I mean, yeah, there's the blaze line set right there.
Right.
Right.
Into the fire puddle. So
Yeah, the bigger batter bombs coming in here also.
it's a really quick sequence there, too. You notice that they have to quickly dodge, and then the lines are almost immediately going
Yeah,
off.
Black Blood coming in here as well.
You might end up having everybody without a blaze line take like a lock gateway just to get away from these blaze lines.
Could be.
So they have another of the tune-up phases. It's almost like every 10% or so.
It looks to be. I don't know if it's like phase-based or just actual duration-based.
Wait, they pushed past it. They instantly pushed past it, so it looks like it might be health. It looks like health percentage is pushing the boss into the final phase,
Interesting.
and
Okay.
time is based on
Look at the area of denial.
when the tune-ups are coming in. Yeah, massive area denial. Final phase of the encounter coming in. Huge chunk of the room is just being taken up by the lightning.
With the blaze lines coming here, it's going to be actually... and the bigger batter
Yeah,
bombs, that's
yeah.
actually an insane overlap there.
Mobility is pretty important on this one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Black Blood Soaks here.
Yep.
Wow.
Here they come in another round.
This fight's cool.
This is a cool fight.
I mean, it's suited for Gallywix as well, right? Boss is at, what, 6% here, Jack? Correct, I believe.
Right, 5% left onto it.
Yeah. Tank debuff getting out here as well. You might get one more set of Blaze overlaps here, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blaze and the bigger batter bombs again. I doubt you get your last Black Blood set. Look at the area denial here. There's nowhere to go with this room being locked off.
Thankfully, it's staggered, so you can continuously
Yeah.
see where those bombs are coming from. And we were able to learn it looks like it's time-based for when the boss goes into the middle. No, I wanted to see the cinematic.
Yeah, what is that about?
Skipper!
Dazer sees it. Hang
Dazer,
on.
Dazer, go, go, go,
Dazer
go, go.
POV.
No, he skipped it too!
Oh,
Oh,
Crisis.
sheesh.
We'll never know what happened to Gallywix.
Oh.
The boss is rapid fire from the start. It reminds me of Sarkareth. You just get in there, things are just slamming off
Right,
the bat, right?
there's not downtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So, on Mythic, you start in the shielded phase, though. Right? Is that true? Like, going into phase 3?
Yeah.
Does
Did
that
you just
mean...
whisper, oh my god, to yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to
now
think,
I'm thinking
like-
about the damage.
like, oh my
Hey, they have an Eye of Kazan that dropped.
Ah, it's big.
Ooh.
Massive.
Wait,
Actually, 2 I have
I was going to say, it looked like 2.
And a Jaster Diamond.
What's that, Jack?
It's a ring that takes stats from somebody else and you get credit for it.
Dude,
Or I think it gives stats.
I think you just generate what they like their stats yourself. I don't think
these
that's
rings
really
this
anything.
tier are wild.
They
Oh,
are.
this
They're
rare
really
loot
cool.
is something. But Yeah, I mean, honestly, that fight looks really intense. It reminds me of Warcraft, where you just pull the boss and it's 0 to 100.
Yeah.
But, I mean, thematically, you probably didn't see as much as you would see on a heroic kill there, with it being normal. But, I mean, I'm pumped for Mythic. It looks good.
I saw a comment that said that this was Timu Ragnaros.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Wait, Timu Ragnaros?
I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Let's lock in. Yeah, sure.
See ya
There you go.
in the next life.
That was a full helpers,
cool
too.
fight.
It is. That was a full
What a
helpers.
really
as well.
cool fight.
Yeah.
Someone's getting crazy.
I'm trying to break down in my head phase 3.
Right, it's figuring out how often the boss is going into the middle for that repair phase.
Right. Does the repair signify anything, or is it just like?
I want to say it's energy based or like time based for when he's going into the middle, because he ejects from his like mech suit in general, goes into the middle, starts getting repairs, and then we have to deal with the ads dropping bombs.
Right.
You have to make sure you pick up those bombs, drop them onto the relevant platforms, and then the boss tries to cast like an AoE raid nuke, and then you are interrupting it as a result.
Okay.
Also, real quick, as you guys know, Coinbase is our presenting sponsor. If you want a signed Team Liquid jersey or the chance to be flown out to the next Liquid Race World First, meet the guild, meet the Raiders, head to tl.gg/CoinbaseRWF, sign up, enter your Coinbase email at tl.gg/RWFBTS, and you'll be entered for both giveaways. Jersey giveaways will take place at the end of the day, and whenever a boss dies, and the next trip to the next Race World First will take place at the end of the race. So make sure you're signed up for that. The giveaway is not in Twitch chat. It is on tl.gg/Coinbase. Use that code TEAMLIQUID20, and you can have a chance to win a signed jersey and potentially a chance to meet the Raiders for the next tiers. Definitely go
huge.
check that out. That is huge. That is huge. So
You can meet me.
you can meet
maybe.
Kalamazoo.
Who knows? But
Florida man itself.
Florida's a dangerous
Yeah, I don't
place.
even. I
but,
don't.
you
To be
know,
fair, I don't know if we're included in that because we come
That's
a
fair.
little bit later than the players, but maybe,
That's fair.
maybe. Well, we'll get confirmation on that. I mean, I think they would. We're way more interesting than the players.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
All right. Okay, Jack. All right.
yeah. So.
Okay.
Oh, actually, we have Scott's POV here. Let's be wiping on Galley.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually wiping here. Unfortunately, in that mission phase.
Is he have the gum going already?
I mean, he's
Got
already
to.
in the dark, locked in. It's time to go.
You're right.
Right.
Need some lights for the guys in these hallways.
I think I like
Does
the
have-
darkness.
Look at them.
We like the darkness of the caster room.
That's true, but we're not on. You know, we're not on camera. We have lights. We
There's a
got
lot of
the
them.
ring lights in there.
Yeah.
Not me.
So,
No, not Jack. What's
okay, so I'm trying to think here. Obviously, we're a bit ahead of ourselves on Mythic.
Don't hurt
but-
yourself.
Well, I know, believe me. A bit ahead of ourselves
Damn.
on Mythic here, but the boss on Mythic skips phase 1 and 2 and begins in that shielded phase, which you need to break the shield and interrupt the total destruction cast. And then it just begins with the empowered bigger, badder bombs,
Right.
the empowered tank frontal, and the canisters being empowered as well. Correct. Or the canisters being soaks, basically. There's canisters, which are the red soaks that go on. I believe they're thrown onto a player and need to be like split soak with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are the bombs, which need to be brought to the conveyor belt as
5,
well, which spawn
4,
whenever a technician
3,
dies.
2,
But
1.
if it just begins in that phase, it's gonna be total hell. All right, let's see what we can do here, though. So phase 1, we have just basically the actual like easier versions of phase 3 mechanics here. You're gonna have that set of big bad bunch of bombs coming out. The canisters spawning in phase 1 as well. And this all happens until the boss reaches 100 energy. Big tank frontal coming up as well, past these two large air denial circles coming in. And the tank soak is, I believe, alternated, correct, Jack?
Yes.
Right there,
So,
okay.
We got like a 30-second debuff or so that takes time to fall off. And so you're just going to have the groups basically alternate between the orange and the blue markers every single time. You can see they're moving away from these markers in Scott's POV, and then they're probably going to move that frontal soak to the side just a little bit, and so that they're able to have that cone soak going out on soak. Actually, it looks like it doesn't change for the tank.
They just,
But they basically just want to make sure that they're going into these different positions every time. And then in a sec, we're probably going to have the big... they didn't have a name to it.
I think the big bad bunch of bombs spawn out of those two boxes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Yeah,
the boxes aren't based off like the boss's cast time or anything like that. They spawn afterwards.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they blow up and then spawn the bombs. in phase 3, the tank gets his frontal and spawns the big bad bunch of bombs, whatever it is, the big empowered bomb.
The BBBs.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The phase 1 isn't that bad, it seems like. Just alternating back and forth between a handful of mechanics. When the boss reaches full energy in about 10 seconds here, that's when things get amped up a little bit.
Yeah, this one's pretty tough too, as they have to make sure they're dodging between it.
Yeah, the RNG
It doesn't seem like there's a
annoying.
penalty either, so tanks can actually run out of melee range in this phase and be fine. They just have to deal with mitigating some of the incoming damage. Really large heal absorbs out of that Cone Soak that they missed out on, or they had a couple people miss
Why
out
are they
on.
standing in front of that?
So they have to make sure that it's going to hit the tank regardless,
Yeah.
and so it is going to have damage split between everybody in it. And so they have to make sure that they're having half the raid soak one side,
so
half
it's
the raid soak the other.
Right.
Okay.
Once we enter into this first intermission phase, then they're going to have to deal with all of these Dark Fuse technicians, which try to heal the boss. Once they die, they're going to drop these mines. They need to go deliver those to the resulting platforms. Once you can see there's like the 2 lights that line up, it shows the platform is full. So unfortunately, Dryny
Has to hoof it across the room.
has to run a lot.
Yeah, he made it. It's all right. If those bombs aren't brought over, they will do indeed raid-wide damage, though. But they've taken care of that pretty easily here at intermission.
Breaks my heart seeing him tanking up front, not healing his holy pally.
No.
He is healing. A man after my own heart. He's still healing.
Yeah, so the boss has indeed reached that 50% threshold, which does trigger that phase 3 push. So you're going to see bombs being basically empowered here. After this tank soak goes out, it's going to pop and will spawn a barrage of bombs. Smaller bombs, but a much larger amount, overlapping with these blaze lines coming in here, making the area denial very hard to traverse across the room here. I believe you see those black blood soaks coming up here, Jack, as well.
Yeah, they're called TikTok bombs.
There we go. Ooh, there you go.
Yeah.
In the back, being split amongst the raid here. 3 soaks for a raid size of max helpers here, give or take. A bit of pulsing damage coming from the boss here. Sorry, area of denial from the boss here as well.
Yep. Oh, they gotta hoof it.
You gotta run here. Yep, you're gonna have a quarter of the room left. Here comes that tank debuff as well, which is gonna spawn that big, massive, bigger, badder bombs coming in with the blaze lines coming here as well. This is the mad area of denial you have. You have all this to dodge, plus the black blood soaks coming up, but they're paced in a way where you can do it.
Hey, and they even have
For
a
now.
moment to breathe right now as the Dark Fuse technicians come in. Boss in the middle of the room, and the technicians are attempting to heal Gallywix.
Yep, bit of a frontal dodge there, not too bad to worry about.
I wonder if they just push past this point, though.
I'm curious myself as well, yeah.
They should have all these mine drops. We don't quite see them, but you can see the platforms being open, basically, and that means that you could drop the bombs off for the boss. But nobody's really doing them right now, and it stands to reason that they might just be able to push the boss, not have to worry about it at this point, heal through all of this damage as best they can. They got that Spirit Link going down, should have the entire raid inside of it at this point, but it looks like they're just kind of lacking a little bit of the juice right here.
I don't think it's
tough.
finish it.
Little tough.
Looks like they're trying to drop off some of the mines, like the bombs and everything now. As you can see, they're about to explode. But it seems like that might just be one of the damage checks they have at this point.
Yeah.
If they can actually end up beating that, get into the final phase, they should be into a much more comfortable position.
Interesting.
THC group,
Fun on
stronger
Mythic.
group. There you go, the Happy Hill. Not too happy
Yeah.
right now.
No, definitely not. No. But hey, it's only day 1.
So when it comes to,
Lots to
I'm
learn.
reading up here on these Giga Coils that are present in Phase 3 as well. At max energy, Gallywix activates a Giga Coil, which pulses AoE damage, spams Giga Blast, dealing high damage in a line. Each cast increases the AoE damage of Giga Coil. Players must get a Giga Bomb to the Giga Coils to stop Gallywix.
Yeah.
So those are the bombs from the technicians that we're bringing over, correct?
Yep.
Got it, okay.
So it looked like there was total destruction being cast the first time.
Okay.
Does it have that in the dock as well?
It has it in the first intermission at 50% health. It doesn't have it in the actual Phase 3 transition or phase that I've seen here, but that could indeed be a mechanic as well.
So what it sounds like to me is you need to use the bombs for the first time to stop total destruction being cast. And then the second time, you could use them to stop the Giga Coils? Or you could push the boss?
Yeah. So you're sort of at a crossroad here. What do you want to do, I guess, in a sense, right?
It seemed that way. They might have to, if their damage is not high enough, they basically got attritioned out. Maybe they can move around some healer cooldowns to have a bit more longevity to it, but it seems like it might be more of a damage angle than anything else.
Time to start booting people.
I'd be getting the boot.
Same.
Okay, it's a cool fight though. I like this a lot actually.
Me too.
Huh.
If it's this chaotic on normal, I can't wait
Right.
to see it on Mythic.
Right.
That'll be fun.
Well, everybody wants to see it on Mythic because nobody knows what's going to happen, right? You know?
Yeah.
I heard there's a rumor they're factoring in racing. You got to race through Undermine
Oh boy.
for a new record.
Wait, what do you mean? Wait, what do you mean?
You got to beat a certain timer driving through Undermine in your car, or you just fail phase 2.
Oh, okay. Secret Mythic phase?
I wonder if you
Something
could
like that,
jump over the middle here.
Good question. I doubt it.
Demon Hunter probably could.
Oh, I'm sure they've tried already.
Oh,
I wonder if there's something
like
like stopping them, because there actually are a couple areas where you would want to jump over the middle.
You could
if
play
had the
that.
ability.
Yeah, you could play like a short gate there possibly if it even works over the center.
Yeah, it might be tough. Right side is it seems like these boxes have a ton of time before they detonate.
They do.
Yeah.
So you really have a lot of breathing room.
Yeah, I believe the radius of the actual bombs here is larger than phase 3, I think, but the phase 3 bombs are much more prevalent. There's a lot more. And you're in that like certain small quadrant of the room as well, which makes it very hard to dodge.
Yeah, Firestorms have what 2 waves look like, starting player location.
Yeah. Bit space there. For the most part, phase 1's going to be rinse and repeat. You hit that max energy, which pushes them into your mission, which then starts spawning those technicians. We need to get the bombs right out to the edge of the room. Those like nice loading docks, in a sense you can call them. And that will then trigger phase 3 once that actual shield's broken and his large cast is interrupted. Yeah, more bomb spawning here.
Yeah. That's very tough to do, to have that cone soak while you have the big bad bunch of bombs.
It is, because it's almost RNG as to where the bombs would go.
And only one side has to deal with it.
Right.
If you're looking at it, you only have one side which is soaking as those bunch of bombs is coming out. So very easy to lose people at that point.
Yeah.
Or this one is just super chill.
Yeah, you're just chilling over here, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's fine.
More or less. Boss should be hitting intermission pretty quickly here. And interestingly enough, it's the intermission is energy based, but phase 3 is health based. So depending on the ratio of energy to health, you can sort of like just skip a decent part of it in a sense, which makes things very, very interesting here. What is that mechanic there? Sangon.
It looked like he just had to run a bomb out and play spread with everybody else.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think part of it was also that not enough people were soaking to begin with. They
Right.
did lose a healer, so they don't have a battle res going into this. Actually, they lost 2 healers. They might just have to wipe right now.
They should have maybe 1 res available, but yeah, it's definitely tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do indeed beat that intermission phase here. And the next threshold's going to be 50%, which you're actually hitting right now.
All right, so this is interesting. They, with 2 healers down, they might be forced to play the bombs correctly both times. So this one, it looks like they're going to be trying to make sure they interrupted total destruction. No!
It despawned on him. Oh.
Oh, no.
Wait, how did it get knocked off?
So basically, they fulfilled the mechanic. They ran the bombs in like they were supposed to.
Yeah.
And as a result, the platforms withdrew. And so they had more than enough bombs
so
to
it
take
just
care of
fell
the
off.
mechanic. And yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is the, he fell off.
I mean, they're able to commit a res to 1 healer, I believe, correct?
No, they
So-
expended it on Sang earlier. And so they're going to have another res coming up soon, and they should be getting up Liam Monk,
All right.
who was down beforehand. I don't see if they've actually gotten a chance to pick him up just yet. But they definitely need to make sure they get him up. If not, they got to get up Joey Bop, or Joey Boy.
Oh, same thing. It's
Joey Boy P, you know?
There you go, same thing.
Yeah, I think we're going to be looking at a wipe right now. They just have too many healers down.
like it's tank.
They're struggling a little bit.
Like
Yeah.
here.
The thing is, if you have anybody dying in phase 1,
Yeah.
you can't really try to muscle heal your way through the second phase, third phase intermission.
Yeah, it's just snowballing.
Yep.
But they can keep going for a bit longer here. You're going to have that tune-up phase coming in with these ads spawning, which should be spawning bombs here once they die as well. With the raid being halfway dead, we're not going to be able to skip this or cheese this in any way, shape,
So they have to run these bombs in.
Yeah.
They just have to. They have to grab some of these mines. You can already see them getting into position for some of these platforms. And I believe this is what's going to stop these Giga Blasts from going out, right?
Yeah, once they end up getting all these bombs deposited, this phase should end. I don't know if you're going to have another total destruction cast or not to interrupt here. We're not sure on that. There's 1 bomb on orange still being left alone, which, maybe that's okay to be left there, depending on the number they have out, possibly. But we're just going to probably have a go-again angle here.
Okay, so it seems like that was the trigger to interrupt it. The boss at, what, 26%? So it doesn't seem like there was any health-based push. Really, that'd be like 20, 25?
I think it's rinse and repeat in phase 3 at this point. You're going to have those technicians spawning in when he does that intermission tune-up. Black Blood overlaps with the larger empowered bombs, and yeah. But you can see how taxing phase 3 is. Like, it just snowballs if one or two people go down. It just it's hard to meet the DPS check in the shield or the HPS check, and it just keeps spiraling from there.
Yeah, I would say it seems like it's one of those really big issues in phase 1 of just making sure that you don't get combo killed by some of the larger mechanics, and making sure you have to dodge bombs and make sure you fulfill the cone soaks. And I'm sure people want to min-max their damage, so they want to stay in melee range.
Yeah.
And it might be this moment that you need to have players almost pixel stacked in an interesting formation. What I would see is, like, you would have the tank be in the middle of the cone soak.
Right.
And then you'd have like the raid on like the left side of where the cone soak would be, shift to the right and still be in position for the soak while still dodging the bombs.
Right.
But only one side has to learn how to do that because the other side isn't worrying about the big bombs.
Are the bombs, are the locations RNG there in a sense, or?
They should be on, let's double check. Let's double check. Some of these are and some of these may not be.
Yeah, if you can bait some of them, it shouldn't be that bad. But
Yeah.
having that element of RNG, if it is there, it's going to make phase 1 like just a lot more hectic than it could be.
Right. We have boxes coming down, dodge that circle, follow it up with more bomb locations, right? So you see the boxes drop, and then big bunch of bombs, triggers, explodes those boxes. It looks like they're pretty random.
I think that's RNG. Yeah,
I think that's
random
just
area
random,
denial.
man.
Yeah.
And so you really have to like think on your feet, and you have a couple players just individually being targeted by these bombs, so they need additional spot healing.
Right.
But the circles that we just saw right there, players could bait. It's an interesting combo mechanic.
Yeah, and you have the tank frontal coming out here with no bomb overlap, which is just much easier than the first one you saw there.
Okay, so I wonder if we can see Dryny's POV, because I think the next cone soak is going to be the really nasty one for Dryny's team. Dryny's going to be on the other side of the boss, and then his team is going to have to soak as the frontal is going to come out. See where the bomb's
Yeah, look at
coming
the area
out,
denial.
and then there's the area denial, and then you have to make sure everyone's still staying alive there. So it looks like everybody was fine.
There's a bit of room there, though. Yeah, it's just tough. Interesting. Okay. They're going to have that Firestorm coming out here, which is pretty easy to dodge for the most part here. Not a whole lot really action to that mechanic. Bit of a... That's our area denial.
Favorable timing.
Sang almost flew into the hole, but it's okay. We stayed alive there. It was calculated. It's fine. We're good.
He was the world first in Zero, okay?
Yeah, for a reason. Yeah. All right, we do indeed see boss getting close to that max energy. We should see one more bomb pop coming up here, which is going to be the easier non-tank frontal dodge, which much easier to navigate here. So actually, the pacing's different there. That pacing is the bombs come out, and you can basically find a spot, and the soak comes out.
Yep.
That's interesting. So it alternates pacing of mechanics there. Okay.
Good bit of thinking on your feet required.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to have him phasing into the intermission here, which has these technicians spawning in, which will drop bombs when they die, which need to be brought to the conveyor belts on the outside of the room to basically interrupt the boss's phase here, give or take. Stopping that large cast is going to do as well. Dodging his beam coming up here. This is the easy drop-off part.
Right.
When you're in phase 3 and this is happening, though, with much more air denial and power mechanics is where it gets much, much more difficult.
Yeah, and look at how quick they got out of
Super
that Giga Blast
fast.
phase. Yep.
Yeah, so the next threshold here is going to be 50 on the boss, which is ready right now, pretty much. Is that?
Maybe it's a two-parter.
What do you mean?
So, I think it's a two-parter with the bombs. See how he's casting Total Destruction now?
Right.
It's part one, bring those mines to half the conveyors. That interrupts Giga Blast. Part two, bring enough of the mines so that it interrupts Total Destruction. And so they kind of have to time when they bring the mines to those platforms.
Okay.
But we haven't really seen yet if there's another round of interrupt the Giga Blast, then interrupt Total Destruction, because the previous group was just able to push.
Right. Destruction's not mentioned in the journal from what I can see in phase 3, but we have, I mean, the boss just blew up in the end on the first kill, so I guess...
They just crushed it. Yeah, so now we have the TikTok soaks. These are these purpley soaks that are going to have negative heal absorb.
You can't call it that.
That's literally the name of the mechanic.
I know, you can't do that to me. The black blood, you're doing good, Jack. Come on, it's okay.
All right. Here, room starts getting electrified, and we're getting ourselves ready for the next of those intermission phases. So, boss is going to be taking off its own head. I don't know if there's a nice, cleaner word for that.
Jump into the center.
And then jumps into the center. I mean, that's what happens. He,
He's cutting himself.
He decapitates himself and then comes into the middle.
So a handful of technicians are spawning in again here. Same thing as before. A bit of air denial with that large frontal beam, killing these ads, picking up these bombs to basically get out of this phase. Now, we talked about bombs being used to get out of this phase, but saving some for that total destruction, which I don't think is cast in this phase, but we very well might see it here if it is. So keep your eyes open for that.
Smart. Okay, look at this. From the beginning, fired up, preemptively uses alter time, waits his turn for the platform to come out, and then drops off his mine, and then alter time's back. He, you know what they say, once bitten, twice shy.
There you go. Yep, exactly. 17% in the boss here, actually melting in this phase. APT being committed here, sorry, APT Link being committed here in the triple black blood soaks here. Here are the empowered, bigger, better bombs coming in. But for the most part, this boss is dying pretty fast here.
Right, so it looks like they dropped off those mines.
Right.
The head went back onto the horseman. They get back into the boss, and then this is going to be the final burn. We did not have a total destruction, which makes sense.
I don't think it's there, yeah.
Because part of the room is electrified, which would block off the location to drop those mines off.
Yeah, I don't think it's there. So we only see that in the first intermission then. Okay.
And then you're chilling. You have to deal with the tank soaks, which you're bringing those really far away. The tank buster, I should say, that you're bringing far away. The black blood soaks, which is the tick-tock bombs.
Yeah.
And then it repeats the process with the Giga coils, but you could just keep on burning the boss until he falls over, and then...
Right, and also there wasn't 3/4 of the room being denied. Because they dropped the bombs in a better manner, right? So you have more room to move.
But they also interrupted the Giga Coils faster.
Yeah.
Because if they took longer to interrupt those Giga Coils, then more of the room would continuously be electrified.
So it's not as bad with one quadrant being empowered versus 3 in that final phase.
So even more importance on sorting out who is going to get in a position. I mean, heck, you know what they're going to do? They're going to have some kind of assignment for platforms where they say, hey, you've picked up the bomb first. You're going to go to this platform for this location. You're going to drop off your bomb there. Because what we were running into a slight issue, and it's normal difficulty, was, hey, I picked up the bomb. Who's going to this platform?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I don't want to fall off the ledge, you know.
Yeah, he knew exactly where he needed to go. Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
We already have some early assignments for some weak aura changes.
There you go. I guess it's a cool fight. It's fast-paced.
Yeah.
I like that. There's no downtime. You're not going to sit there bored or anything.
It's normal, so it's not going to be like...
And a good projection about what's about to happen.
Right.
You know, knowing that when the boxes come down, you're saying, oh, I got to get out of those. But they don't explode until the boss's cast ignites them and then triggers the big bunch of bombs. I like that a lot.
And the cadence of the tank soak with bomb explosion pacing in phase 1's interesting, too.
Good tempo.
I think that second tank frontal you're taking has the frontal come out and the bombs showed location, but the first one has, like, bombs first and then frontal, I believe. It alternates where you can sort of play it in a sense to maximize DPS, which is pretty cool.
And I think we're going to get a tiny little quest turn in.
Can you believe those chuckleheads?
Quick little crest.
Hey,
Acquired.
Renown 8.
Oh my
Damon.
gosh.
Nicely done.
Well, with the crest quest, he is. I can never say that.
You got there eventually.
Yeah, well.
Unique New York.
You
ever done that?
Is that a tongue twister? Unique New York?
Yeah, it's one of those like exercises you do.
That is not as bad as Crest Quest.
Crest Quest.
Yeah, no shot.
Crest Quest.
Unique
Okay.
That could be a pretty
New
cool
York,
cereal.
New York.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
Lucy O's.
Yeah.
I don't need cereal.
Have a banana on a surfboard.
What?
Yeah. A little mascot. A little banana on a surfboard.
What does?
Crest Quest, my new cereal.
Oh, cool. Why a banana on a surfboard?
It's awesome. I have like big sunglasses too.
That's so random, though.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, you just came up with that on the
Yeah,
spot?
on the spot.
That's nice. Okay, cool.
Why are we in
Westfall.
Lighthouse.
I leave a notch on the door. Quiet.
Was that a I am stuck button really fast? Yeah, that's
I didn't know they're mentioning quests.
Pretty torn up, Shaw.
it's got to be a campaign.
Renzic's belongings collected.
Wanted to go home.
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was one of the guys who died. Spoiler alert.
He never said why.
Womp womp.
But he just lived in a
He
lighthouse.
didn't deserve it.
That seems like a very not
That-
goblin-esque kind of thing.
That's what I want for life.
Maybe
There.
that's
You want to
how-
live on a lighthouse?
Leave me alone. Yeah, my lighthouse.
Be a salty old man.
I'm something like that, yeah.
We do have a couple donations coming in. Have $25 from Pendragon, W Team Liquid, X Pasadena Humane Society.
Dub.
Christy, $50. She donated, sent in a picture of her pets. We'll definitely get a look at that. Thank you guys so much for your donations so far. We're at $110
Holy moly.
for the Pasadena Humane Society. TL.gg/RWF-donate if you'd like to check it out yourself. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So, Jack, how many, now that we've seen this boss, how many Gallywixes do you think we killed today?
With all the splits and everything like that?
Yeah.
Are we going to, or have we so far?
Did we see heroic? How many did we kill, and do we see heroic Gallywix today?
I don't know if you really... I think you would probably set up splits so that you have a ton of groups doing like 4 of 8, 5 of 8, something like that.
I'm surprised we even killed normal, honestly.
And then, why not? Jaster Diamonds.
I guess. Yeah.
Jaster Diamonds. Eye of Razans. So much good stuff.
Sure.
No, I think you would probably get something around the likes of each split run doing 3 today.
3 only normal, no heroic.
3 normal, something like that, and then you would do like 15 Gallywixes on normal today. Math?
I mean,
No.
at the same time, we're doing 5 splits simultaneously. It probably isn't that bad. 15
Right, you just do
Gallywix.
like 3 of those, then you get into heroic, and you start doing like 4 or 5 heroic splits.
Sure.
Or sorry, you do 5 heroic splits to 4 or 5 bosses.
That boss of heroic is going to be no joke, though.
Yeah.
Either. Like, with Helper, that's going to be a slog,
Well,
damage-wise.
That'll be fascinating to see how far they can take it. That's why I would say you'd probably only be doing something along the lines of 4 or 5 bosses on heroic with
Right.
5 different splits, and then you'd start working on coalescing from there.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Nobody passes without permission from the boss.
Can you do that voice, Jack?
And you don't got permission. Ain't that right, Mike? You
That's pretty
got
good.
it, see?
All right, well, if you're just now tuning in, we are continuing to do splits. Got 5 going at once. Pretty smooth so far. That last group had a little bit of a trouble, but only 3 tries, and they got it eventually.
I think it really teaches you a lot about the encounter because you might
Yeah.
be able to get away with certain things in certain groups if you have a lot of damage, and you don't
Sure.
really know if the helper's going to be huge damage or not until you really get into it.
I would be.
Huge help.
I'm
We
for
should
it.
send you to go help him out.
Well, I have an ult I can bring in. Sure, let's go.
There you go. Calazar?
Calazard is... He's a lost cause. He's an abomination for multiple reasons.
Why?
Have you seen him?
No, I don't even know. Is it a Drakthir?
It's a nasty Drakthir.
Ugh.
It's
It's one of those...
It's like a vanilla Drakthir.
Yeah.
There's like nothing on it.
one of those... what do they call that guy from Harry Potter? Call him...
Voldemort?
Yeah, it's Voldemort lizard, yeah.
Looks like Voldemort.
Yeah. He's an abomination.
Does he have no nose?
He's got a snout.
He's got like a
It's-
mini nose?
Yeah, it's like a flat, kind of like hamburger-shaped face. Like,
They are super ugly.
well, you know,
I'm sorry to all the Drakthir enjoyers, but I hate
They
them so
can't-
much.
they can't choose how
The
they
entire
Wow.
Drakthir race is
Say-
an
say it.
abomination.
look. Yeah, come on, let's go.
Hey, what's on your mind?
That's on my mind.
My gosh.
I'm glad they can be just in Visage form the entire time if you're not playing
In what form?
Visage form?
Visage.
Visage.
Visit.
Visage. Thank you.
There you go. Close.
It's one of those things where I've only ever read the word,
Yeah. I hear you.
just said it out
I hear
loud.
ya.
That's no.
What?
No, never mind. I was gonna make a weird joke about Florida, but I don't want to have people spin those cards out.
Too late.
Yeah,
Go
like
for it.
Florida?
Yeah. Oh,
Florida?
well, that's me and Raid Florida. That was pretty good, actually. That was pretty good, actually.
Is that
Yeah.
because of PI? So you're like riding high with that?
No,
Or-
I'm just dead. It's alright.
Oh my goodness. Have you guys missed out on what Mugsy does? This is a pretty cool fight on normal. You have to deal with these Galagio goons, which are trapping players into these earthquakes, basically. And so you have to have players soak it. And so they're splitting the raid basically in half. On normal difficulty, the way to break yourself out of the jail, just kill off the goon. Then the tank buster is dropping off these piles of gold. And so it's knocking the tank back, and so they're just tanking the boss against the wall at that point. And then every step that they take, not only will Kalamazoo be watching you, but they'll also be dropping off piles of gold. And they
That
need
was
to make
good.
sure they drop them before the debuff expires, then they get stunned.
Yep, those frost traps there are also used to break the cages on heroic or higher, but on normal, it's just basically a little slide part of the fight. You get a mechanic, slide for a little bit, and it goes away. We are heading back into, I guess, what do you call these sides? Like iron and rock? I don't know what to call them anymore.
Yeah, you know, blue and brown, something like that. I'm not too picky onto it. But every time you swap sides, massive amounts of AoE damage.
Yeah.
And it's super dangerous on this blue side because you have to deal with some of the drones. Drones start casting chain lightning on players, and it ramps for every target it jumps to. So the final player getting hit by Chain Lightning just gets trucked at the exact same time that there's huge AoE damage because you just switched phases.
Yeah, at the same time here at 40%, you see both bosses essentially becoming active here, getting both that finger gun and that lightning-esque gun being fired at the same time. There is a stage 2 indicator on THG's screen here, which is interesting. I'm not sure if that corresponds to like just a, if it's just duration based for like a soften rage, or because we saw it 20-ish% last time the boss did a weird rage as well, right?
I got a feeling that this is when the boss ends his bullet storms and properly starts like the mechanics of phase 2. Okay, now it actually activated into phase 2, so maybe it was just prediction. Okay. I think it was just more of like a predictor based off of like how they were burning the boss, because it's like you quote unquote push into phase 2, but he just starts doing bullet storms for a while.
That works.
And then you actually get into the mix.
Right. So now we're going to end up seeing those bombs spawning in, which you mentioned earlier as well. Not like heroic or higher, just normal. You can walk into them and soak them, but they provide a, I guess, bring a healing debuff, a healing shield, correct? It needs to be healed off.
Yeah, whenever you soak any of those bombs, Heal Absorb comes out onto the soaking player, and then you need to make sure you take care of it. Jail's coming out once again. Got to kill the goons, and then you are free from the goon cage.
And this is the LOS cage you were talking about earlier as well, where people outside can't target people inside, or in the other cage also.
It's a nice way to do it, and they've even made sure they got knocked towards that next soak.
Yeah.
Ooh, that hot mess, that's the group soak that you just saw. It's a really difficult sequence, because you need to make sure that you get out of the jails fast on both sides, and then you have that soak for the group, which is dropping the hot mess fire. You can see the fire puddle in between both those earthquakes on the right side of THD's screen. They need to make sure they get everybody in to soak those together. Without it, you're going to be in pretty dangerous.
Does the hot mess ignore LOS? Do we know?
If it should, because it expands from the location where it spawns at, where it drops at. So if like a group was hidden behind the walls or something like that, I don't know if they would soak it. Hopefully they would. But they would certainly take damage from the puddle.
Interesting. Well, regardless, Mugsy down again. Back on the galley, making blazing time here.
Is it? Does it feel like it's been a productive morning so far of splits?
I would say time's been going flying by since I've sat on the couch with y'all.
Oh,
thank you.
You know, I enjoy casting with you too, but that is the end of this segment. We're gonna get some new casters in here, let these guys continue on with their splits. So we are going to sign off. Before I do that, though, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors. Of course, it is MyBlue. We will be doing a daily giveaway starting tomorrow. All you have to do is log into MyBlue Daily, complete a quest for a chance to win. We're giving away $50 in Team Liquid Store credit, so you can buy any of the Liquid Race World First apparel or mount options. All kinds of cool stuff in there, so definitely go check it out. teal.gg/RWF-MyBlue or RWF-MyBlue. Let me say that again. teal.gg RWF-MyBlue. You can get a jersey, all kinds of cool stuff in there. So thank you so much to MyBlue, as well as, of course, the rest of our sponsors. Coinbase, our presenting sponsor, as well as Honda, Secret Lab, Monster Energy, Alienware, MyBlue, RaiderIO, Wowhead, Warcraft Logs, and DungeonDojo. Thank you guys so much. We're going to throw to a Monster Energy. Listen in.
You want to see something really cool?
Where else can we go?
This is the Honda Prologue. We can go anywhere we want.
Alienware's highest performance desktop yet, equipped with powerful Intel Core Ultra processors. With an innovative design engineered for optimized gameplay. Encounter the return of Area 51 at Alienware.com.
Ever since Max renewed his contract, he's been like weirdly obsessed with Secret Lab chairs.
There we go, right there.
He does everything in them. Like everything. Like, I get it. They're great chairs, but it's just like a bit much. Just like a little too far.
This is Max, and here is the exact moment he saw a custom plush toy we made of him from scratch.
Wow, it's got, okay, so there's a lot going on here.
We here at Team Liquid have spent months turning all of our friends, family, and any famous people we can find a public address for into their own custom plushes based off our mascot, Blue. Which means we had to make one for everyone's favorite raid leader and WoW streamer, Maximum. The first thing we have to do is give Blue some facial hair. Using some fur and this deep, longing photo of Max, we remade his scruff 1-2-1.
It's got a crazy beard. I was certainly looking that homeless during the last race.
And Max's face would be unrecognizable without his glasses. Important for raiding and seeing. Then we realized he was still without clothes, so we made him decent with a custom jersey. And at this point, he looked a little less Max and a little more Seth Rogen in a t-shirt, so we added some memorable WoW items, Ramornia and the Gift of N'Zoth, both 3D printed and painted to match the game. Finally, we delivered it to Max to capture his reaction.
Look, he's real cute. He's got my little Harry Potter glasses on. I get to keep this, right? You can make your own. You just gotta go to tl.gg/myblue and you can customize it however you want.
Eureka! Gallywix is gonna flip when he sees this! Unless he doesn't. Maybe we ought to do some market testing first. To develop.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Collect or stand in circle.
Let's try a little experiment.
Collect or stand in circle.
3, 2, 1.
Rallying cry.
Streets are clear, and we got all the salvage we need. Meet me at the Gallywix. It's time we blow the lid off that joint.
You chumps really think a little explosion's gonna faze me?
Collect or stand in circle.
Come on. Gallywix wants a fight? We'll give it.
Well, you can.
You ready to talk?
What? You think you're gonna yap at me till I roll over? We got games to play, Gazlo.
do a 25.
Kill everything right here.
Kill these mobs.
Some guys coming in the back.
What if we can figure out what the very rare drop rate is soon? I don't think it's changed so far. I don't think it's changed in a couple tiers. There was one, it was Vault to Aberrus. It was like, they buffed the fucking shit out of it.
Yeah, the class trinket.
Dude, yeah.
I was dropping like every run.
Yeah, we actually got more class trinkets than we got, than the one off of Forgotten Experiments, which was not very rare.
Can jump up over here. Try not to pull the mobs in the middle.
Just kill this guy, kill this guy.
Yeah, kill this guy. Kill the dealer here.
We're saving nice pack as well.
Target something first.
Shot left.
Yep.
Can bloodlust this guy. It's probably a big deal bloodlusting the bigger pool upstairs.
Awesome.
Yep. So I wonder how Heroic's gonna work with those coils. I wonder if you have to do like 2 at a time or something, or maybe just the boss has more HP, so you actually go closer to the end of the fight instead of the way it is. Because like on normal, it makes sense as you just blow up a thing every single time it goes to the middle and gets the ramping thing. We were that last pull, we just primed one and didn't destroy it, right? Weren't we taking like hella raid damage for no reason because we didn't blow one up for a long time?
Is that how it works?
Dude, yeah,
I don't know.
Must be.
I thought we only took raid damage.
I think the priming is fine.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is with priming is I think then the one thing I don't understand is we're starting a 1 minute cast on all of the ones that we primed and not exploded. What happens at the end of that minute?
It doesn't start.
It doesn't. It's when you vote.
Yeah. Watch that.
What's the? It's.
See again. So here it is. So I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at. Oh shit! Yeah, Flaming Coin. I'm looking.
Yeah,
at
Flaming Coin.
But I do have Gallywix things that differ from what we think. Don't touch the things on the ground if you see them, guys.
Kill
the coin head. We need to kill the coin head now. Everyone kill the. Yeah, Marco.
Extra action button.
Marco D. I think we extra action button on the boss. Thank you. And everyone else, very much click. Coins on the floor.
Marco, you still have to put.
I'm just locking this in. Yeah,
okay. We're good.
Okay, that was whatever. Fine. Coin and shock is early. It's fine. So it's very important when the ads die, guys. You don't stand on top of them. So this is gonna be a different order. I'll figure out what it is. We killed what? Coin shock? Okay, so we're gonna kill coin bomb next. And then I think we only get 2 sets, right? On last time we did this?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got the coin mark? Yeah.
It doesn't spawn the coils in the last day, so ideally you wouldn't want any coil. Oh, also, can you hit that coil like off CD tanks, basically? Like I
hit it.
I need to figure out what the CD is. Like, let me know when it's clickable again.
Collect or stand in circle.
I'm watching it.
It's clickable again. There's like 10 seconds.
Yeah. You can kind of spam that shit, huh?
We doing?
What are we dumping?
Let me see. Coin,
shock and bomb, right?
Just do shot. Just do coin and bomb. Coin and bomb. Coin and bomb. Kill bomb, guys. Kill the bomb ad.
You have it, Cindy?
Yeah.
You dunk. You can dunk too.
Did you press it against Mac? Kill these ads.
Yeah, stun these ads, guys. Don't let them touch you.
Careful.
Yeah, do not let the ads touch you. Are they CC? Oh no, these ones are.
Yeah, these are the
right?
CC man.
They're
okay, doing this one is terrible. We should never do that again.
Kind of scary when they refixate.
We're pushing here soon.
The left mark.
Rallying cry.
Be careful of being between the coil that it spawns here and the boss.
Just hold right next to it.
Yeah.
Just, you guys see the shock thing on the ground? You don't want to be in between the shock thing on the ground and the boss. Looks like the exact same spot.
Yeah.
As the first run.
You think it fucks you up if you stand in the circle? Of it spawning?
Or stand in circle.
Has to be. Wait, that coil just grew bigger when you got closer, right? Here, pull it away for a second just for fun. Look at the actual coil model.
It gets bigger when it's clickable, maybe that was one.
Oh, maybe, yeah. What happens when you click this one? Does it do the suck? Knockback? Yeah. Like, why would you even need to do it? Yeah. Hot heat rate damage. You guys want to use like all personals and health right here?
We're gonna blow up.
What Sang thinks as well is pushing the boss to 50 will also stop that damage. Specifically on normal, like on heroic, you wouldn't have it at 50 by then. You'd have to blow it up, but like, apparently you probably could throw all the first bombs off on normal. I think we should practice doing it the right way though.
Guess we struck a nerve.
No reason not to. Okay, so I'm looking at this VOD, right? So I see one of the controls is, it's the one of the ones we primed. When you prime it, it casts Control Meltdown. It's a 60-second cast, and then at the end of Control Meltdown, I don't know what happens. Tobo looks away before it's over. But like this is, nothing has been blown up. All we did was prime one, and it just starts a minute-long channel on the nameplate of the control you blew up. It's happening in like 6 seconds.
I feel like I actually saw it expire at some point and then just nothing happened.
Yeah, I literally just saw it expire, but nothing happened. Like,
yeah.
Dude, this is so, it's actually, I have easily never been this confused on
Isn't that mechanic on a higher difficulty? Like, there's something to do with that?
Let me check.
I don't know.
I don't
I could be making shit completely up.
I've looked at this boss a lot. It's so weird.
We can lust here on this back?
Yeah.
I'm opening the door market. Starting the roleplay.
Can you link where you see him do the first bomb and it starts to cast?
Sorry, the first link when I see the first, when the first bomb.
Yeah, you said he primed it and it started to cast.
Oh yeah, I can make that.
You got it, C. Oh, so many toys.
Okay,
Don't
I can
die too quick, okay?
Hit that ring, Toba. Wild, bro.
Actually, dude. Keep this ring a secret, bro.
Alright, we're gonna start. We're gonna start in full.
I'll do it even better, Mark. I'll fucking clip.
Have you guys seen the healer in group 6, by the way? Sketchy guy.
Bro, I thought Nick joined the wrong group. Maybe
Everyone start off up here. We're gonna kill the close ad. It's gonna spawn around the ping. Kill this ad.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the fucking mandate and the damage buff, by the way.
Smart. Okay, mines. Stay away from these mines unless you're in our guild.
How do you make a clip not public?
On YouTube?
Yeah, I'm trying to click
Should
something.
be unlisted like option.
Group soak on star here.
And I click it and it's unclickable, doesn't it?
Bring this to star. Everyone soak on star.
Maybe after you publish it, we can make it unlisted.
We can just soak it here, it's fine.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm sending this
Move away from the fire. If you get this on you, stop moving. What is happening? Oh, it's in melee. And then move away from this circle. And then after this, we're just gonna move to the other side of the room.
You can stop moving when it turns into a circle. Let's go over.
Yeah, everyone go over. And there's gonna be 2 jails here. 1, 2, 3 on orange. 4, 5, 6 on diamond. Over by the pings.
Yeah, they're at like the entrance of the room, just if you don't see. Nice pings, tank.
Thank you. The model is 5 million.
Sick.
Get
to the markers.
I want you to do not overlap them.
Let them out. Do not overlap them. And soak the markers. Kill your goons.
You guys
don't get goon. Do not goon.
Tank is, or the boss gonna do a frontal here?
Do you have an idea of how close the boss needs to be to get to do the enrage thing, or do you not want to fuck with it? Cause it's
I don't want to wipe.
Yeah. We do need to efficiently test that at some point.
Yeah, maybe if we pull ahead.
You having fun on that, bro?
No, that mechanic is wild, bro.
Are we changing after the?
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, it's gonna do a finger gun, and then we can swap to the other side. You can already like pre-position towards the middle here. After this, yeah, that's just a frontal. Move out of that.
Gun, and everyone else can move out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, everyone move to the other side of the room. Move to the other side of the room here. We're gonna get ads again.
Do the close one first.
Nope. Range can hit the 1x star. Boss is pushing really soon. Is there anything that makes us like swap on the boss?
Collect or stand in circle.
Capture this, so I don't know what it does.
Yeah. Looking some. Okay, we're pushing here.
Welcome back to the Alienware training facility, home of Team Liquid. I am Tettles, joined by Dratnos and Kalamazzi, and you are here watching the Race to World First. Fellas, how's it been?
Great. It's been good. I'm locked in.
Yeah, Kalamazzi, you've been here all day, right?
I've been locked in since 10 in the morning, waiting for service to come up, and I'm ready to go.
You got your leg waxed, right? Ooh.
Yes.
May I?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Feel it, Tettles, feel it. It's smooth.
All
it's
right.
Scary. Anyways.
Before we get into some of the cast, we've seen Gallywix being downed on normal. There's a lot of normal splits that are going on. But we got to thank some sponsors because they are helping put on this excellent show. So shout out to Coinbase, Honda, Secret Lab, Monster Energy, Alienware, MyBlue, RaiderIO, Wowhead, Warcraft Logs, and DungeonDojo. We also have a charity partner this time. We are with the Pasadena Animal Shelter. So if you want to donate to them, tl.gg/RWF-donate for that as well. And on top of that, I've presented you guys a great opportunity. If you go to tl.gg/Coinbase and use the code TeamLiquid20, I will give you something better than $10. Do you guys know what's better than $10?
$20?
$20. That's very good, Kalamazzi. You're doing a great job. There's also some other giveaway opportunities if you do go to Coinbase and you sign up using TeamLiquid20. Basically, there's a couple of cool things that you can win, including some signed jerseys. There's also an exclusive trip to potentially come to the next Race to World First and meet Dratnos.
Yep, we can even arrange it so that it's a day that Tettles isn't here, so even higher value.
Yeah, so yes, as you see on the screen right here, Coinbase will fly you out and you get a VIP look at the next race. Again, of course, go to tl.gg/CoinbaseRWF.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm going there.
I'll be going to the next Race to World First, probably.
What happens if I win the giveaway? Do I get to come back, or am I getting...
Logistics, Kalamazzi.
No, they can't cut me, can they? I'll just stay here. Perfect. Well, did you catch any Gallywix, Tettles?
There was a lot of mechanics on that fight. They had some Fire Act Blaze lines. There were some bombs that were being ran off the side.
Yeah,
I heard Max in the intermission with the Monster Energy listening, talking about a lot of the new strats and stuff like that. What did you think about it, Dratnos?
Yeah, so Gallywix was a fight that it had a lot of stuff in the Dungeon Journal that was sort of ambiguous about how exactly it would work. Sort of the number of these bombs, how exactly you use them to defuse the giga lasers, the 4 giga lasers around the room. And it seems like it's not going to be that hard on normal for these guys, but kind of the hardest part was just sort of understanding what you had to do. So we saw them wipe a couple times in one of the splits to just not really figuring that out, but now it should be under control. So we have 5 normal splits underway, and they've all completed their first 8 out of 8 run, and I think all of them are now in or finished with their second, and what all of those are is they're just the last 4. So they're skipping the first 4 normal and just doing the last 4. So that's what we're looking at right now. I've heard from Max as well that Heroic will be happening today as well.
Oh, interesting.
But we're starting with just these normals. And this is sort of it's unsurprising, right? It's particularly right when servers come up if you're trying to get helpers and things.
Right.
I think the normals are definitely something that you're going to be able to get through quicker while you're sort of getting the lay of the land. And these last 4 bosses each drop a very rare item, so those even on normal can be really worth fishing for.
I think the 2 most premium bosses, though, are probably Gallywix himself and the one-armed bandit.
Yeah.
The best in slots in the House of Cards trinket and weapon are huge. Then, of course, you have the Eye of Kazan and the Jaster Diamond off Gallywix, which, again, premium items. Like Dratnos mentioned, some very rare options there. The best in slots in that Jaster Diamond are huge value pieces. And that's why you're going to see so many splits this tier. It's because those very rare items. If you guys remember Rashanon and Sikran from last tier.
Oh, yeah. Still chasing those, yeah.
Kind of similar situation, I think, going to happen with Gallywix and One-Armed Bandit.
Yeah, being the later bosses, though, I mean, the first 2 drop tier, though, correct?
It's
Cauldron?
Yeah, Cauldron. So the first boss doesn't drop tier. The next 5 do.
Right. As far as pathing is concerned, you'll know this. You kill Vexy, you can go to any of the next 4, right? Including Sprocketmonger, right?
Yeah.
So you can go Vexy Sprocketmonger if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought that was the way it worked, and Jack thought it might have been the other way, and then I thought he might be right.
I think you get 1, and then you split to any of the next 4, and then once you get all of those next 4, the last 3 are linear.
Bandit
path.
is the next time it converges. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So you have a lot of optionality there. I do think, though, that one thing that's different between this and last tier, you mentioned Sikran and Rashanan being the very rare holders last tier. Those, of course, were early in the raid, right? And then we had Ovanax and Kaiveza, I guess, technically did have one, but it was a pretty niche one, right? This tier, all the very rares are on those last bosses, right? So you could do these splits where you skip the first 4 and you literally just do 4 very rare bosses in a row. I wouldn't be surprised to see them doing that on normal several times, and particularly like if we get to next week, I bet there will be heroic last 4 attempts going rather than wasting time on the first 4.
But notably, there's no heroic week this time.
That's true, yeah. So this time, like every second that they spend in these splits is 1 less second of Mythic prog. So wipes and splits and stuff are costly, something they're really hoping to avoid. The good news is, right, they're running 5 simultaneously. So whichever split's the last to finish, the other people can just be doing stuff like Mythic Plus, which will be useful soon. The thing is, they don't want to start doing M Plus until there are people with like 10 keys out there that they can go and do the 10 keys of, right? They don't want to push up their own +2 keys to start the day. So Mythic Plus will kind of open up as an option in these next couple of hours as people start having keys for them to leech off of.
The optimal thing for like the viewers right now is if you can actually get a group of alts together with one main and then push a key up to like a 6 or a 7, and probably like a 7, I would say. And then you go in there with all 5 of the mains and get that 7 on all of the players.
Yeah, loot 7s from the box, right?
Exactly, you would loot 7s from the box because how it changed this season is you no longer can get keys out of the chest because before in the past you just wouldn't have to loot it. But now it gets automatically dropped into your inventory, and so that's why you have to do this with alts this season. And like Dratnos mentioned, potentially go into there on 10s. I don't know if 10s are going to be that reasonable at 639, but
it's Tuesday.
I think we will see. In particular, I don't think Liquid are going to waste any time in keys lower than that, because I do think that they'll be doable for them, and they've got the better gear, the better amount of crests and stuff. So I think we'll probably see the keys that are done by Liquid players will probably be 10s or maybe 6s. 6s drop Hero Track
Hero and Gilded, right? Or
yeah, 7s I think is where Gilded starts, and 6s is where Hero Track starts. So if you say already have 2 highish eye level trinkets and you want a specific trinket, you maybe farm it on a 6 so that you can get it on the Hero Track and then upgrade it for free. Yeah, these are the things where, because Liquid have all of their raiders online right now, they're just not going to bother with that, right? They're going to do they're going to do keys later. But in a lot of the guilds in the world, maybe you have 10 people that can be online now and 10 people that get off their jobs later and come home to raid.
Absolutely.
So the 10 people that can be online right now, keys are definitely a great use of your time.
In the context of the Race World First, though, one of the things that you have to figure out is what character is going to be your main for that tier. And so they're not going to actually go and do Mythic Plus probably until they're done with most, if not all, of splits and heroic splits, because they need to identify what's that main character.
Exactly. Like, most of these people will have most of their characters being on the same class, and they're going to wait to see which one will be their main based off of which one is in the split that gets those very rares, right? And gets those tier pieces, gets the 4-piece.
How many splits are they running? Like, or how many characters do they have, Dratnos?
I have no clue.
I've heard more and more procced over and over and over. At this point,
I think it was 15 last year, right?
Yeah, they procced. I know they procced more like a week before the patch came out.
Yeah.
I'm struggling here. It's okay. So, like, we just keep procking more characters?
So the thing is, with these very rares, there are still increasing returns, or not increasing returns, but there's still value for each extra character, even to a kind of a ridiculous extent, because the very rares are so rare that if you can run 20 splits instead of 10, you know, you're going to get basically twice as many characters with those very rares on them.
Do you guys have an expectation of this tier being easier than Nerebar Palace? Because Nerebar was historically very hard.
Yeah, I think it probably will be easier, especially on the Race to World First level, because the Race to World First was so, you know, we had bosses like Kaiveza and Ovanax, which were just incredibly difficult relative to their position in the raid for the Race to World First. I think that they will probably not be that hard this time, but you know, we'll have to see. One of the things as well is that because splits are getting more and more efficient, right? Each time around they're going to have more and more gear, so there's sort of an arms race between Blizzard and Race to World First guilds, right? Where it's like, okay, if you're going to come in here with all of this extra item level, then the bosses are going to have to be a little bit harder on week 1 for them to still even pose a challenge.
I'm hoping the difficulty curve is better.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really hoping.
Me too.
Because, like, last year, taking that step up from Roshan being at, 2 pulls? Was it even like a one-shot?
It was a one-shot, yeah.
To, like, 180 on Brew Twister, Kaiveza being unkillable almost.
Yeah,
it was way too much. So I expect that to be more of a case, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, so we've got Gallywix on screen now, which, of course, nobody has seen yet until today. Actually thought we just had the Dungeon Journal. This is just normal, so there are a lot of mechanics that are missing here, but it is still a pretty hectic boss. There's a lot of stuff going on. You saw those big Phase 1 frontals that you sort of need to alternate half of the group soaking each time, because if you soak it twice in a row, you take a bunch of extra damage, and everybody who soaks gets a nice big healing absorb. Here we could see, the bomb getting run there, and so what you need to do is you need to throw 2 of the bombs at one of the Giga Lasers before it goes off, in order to kind of explode it and stop it from wiping your raid. When it does, it'll eliminate that quarter of the room, so they are going to have that quarter of the room get denied from them once it does get that second bomb deposited.
It looked like in the last phase as well, those bombs still spawned as well, even though there was some area denial, but you didn't throw them at the lasers. It looked like you were throwing them off the edge. Is that right?
So you can throw extra bombs off of the edge or even into the hole in the middle of the room.
Okay.
But you still do need to throw them into the lasers. There was some confusion about that, and that's I think the way it specifically worked is going to be one of those things where it makes maybe more sense on Heroic, because on normal it seemed like you could sort of just throw it into any of the 3 remaining lasers in that last phase, which seemed sort of weird to at least to the Raiders from the comms I was hearing. So we'll see how that functions on Heroic and of course Mythic. But as it stands right now, yeah, it seems like you kind of just can throw those. I mean, it looks like they maybe even made a push here to neutralize this before those lasers even mattered, which is something they were talking about being something you could do on normal, is you just push the boss before things happen into these later phases. But that will probably not be possible on Heroic and definitely not on Mythic.
Yeah, the boss is reaching 50% here, which is going to be the phase 3 push. Right around, I think now, give or take, he should starting to do those empowered abilities, those empowered bigger, badder bombs. The actual like mass area denial going out with the fire rack overlaps here momentarily as well. So this is where things do get a bit intense. We saw them having 3 sections of the room being denied by that lightning in the first few pulls, but we talked about it should probably only be like 1 or 2 if they coordinate those bomb drops properly. Now they know how to do that. Well, you know, hopefully we'll see. We should see the boss also hopping to the middle every so often here for that tune-up cast, which is going to spawn those technicians that will then drop those bombs. So elements of phase 1 with the intermission. There's no total destruction cast here to kick, but there are, like we said, these fire arc lines coming out with those empowered big bad bomb overlaps, which make things very hard to navigate when the room becomes more filled with lightning in a minute here.
It is crazy. The 3 angled fire rack lines, those blaze lines with all 3 of those different angles of which it comes out, that looks like an insane mechanic. It looks like it's going to be very difficult, especially if that ability arms and detonates very quickly. It'd be difficult to like get people out of your raid and not standing in those beams.
We've noticed that there's a bit of the cadence of abilities changes. Like sometimes you get fire arc lines before these, sometimes they come after the actual bombs as well.
Yeah.
Even in phase 1, so knowing the pattern what's going to happen is very important.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to remember this is normal difficulty as well, so I can only imagine what this is going to look like on Mythic in particular, but even on Heroic, I think this is gonna be one of those phases that feels like a Mythic boss on Heroic.
This fight looks epic.
It does,
Just watching, it's not a lot of mechanic spam, but just like watching what the mechanics actually are, it looks like a very cool fight.
Absolutely, yeah. You can see they're all throwing into that laser, so you can see that laser was kind of charging up over to the left, and they are now blowing it up with those bombs. In theory, Looks like there's so basically you have to throw 2 bombs, I think, to blow up any of the lasers.
I believe it's 2 and
Even
there's
on
some extras
normal?
as well. I believe.
Yeah, you get a bunch
so.
of extras,
Yeah.
and they're you get the different different ones that you can throw into. They talked about priming as well. It looks like this is going to be a wipe, so it looks like maybe the Giga Lasers did not get interrupted this time.
It might have been a bomb that went off too. I couldn't really tell exactly there.
Yeah, you can see looking at the death logs there, it does look like, and just from the animations as well, I think what happened there was they failed to stop the Giga Lasers from wiping the raid.
There's private auras on Gallywix, aren't there?
I'm not sure.
I don't know actually.
Okay. I believe there are private auras. I was going to ask what exactly was privated.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't.
Because I feel like assigning somebody to go to very specific drop locations to drop the bombs off is probably something, especially if you don't have any extras. Obviously, it's not relevant for normal, but the moment that you stop having extra bombs, that's something that probably gets assigned, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
from what I could hear, the comms were mostly like just let our raiders deal with it, and then, you know, it's not something where you get a bomb thrown on you. You get to pick it up, so you wouldn't necessarily need weak auras to manage that, right? Because you can just assign it.
Maybe you could pre-assign, but what if there's a vulnerability debuff?
Yeah, if there's something that stops you from being able to just have the same person pick up the same bomb each time, then you would maybe need more of a system, which I think that would be the kind of thing where if it was a private aura, it could require, you know, a macro press or something like that, which would suck.
It seems like in testing, Sprocketmonger was the only fight that I was like, okay,
you would need a smart weak aura.
there
for
will
a bomb
probably be a
Mythic,
weak aura for it, yeah.
Yeah. I don't. So you mentioned priming the bombs or the pylons, Ratnos, in phase 3.
Yeah,
Priming
so
meaning like deposit 1 bomb?
Deposit 1 so that you only need to deposit 1 more to actually blow it up.
Gotcha.
That was at least what I thought was happening. So we're back into phase 1 now as well. This has got the big frontal cone that needs to get soaked by half of the raid.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because the cadence of this cone changes. So you have the 2 bombs come out here, which will pop, and then they'll pop into smaller ones momentarily. Some of these frontals are super easy to dodge. Oh, nothing's in it. Like, this is easy, right? And then another time around, you'll have the bomb spawning before the cone, so you have very little room to navigate in the cone with all the area denial coming out.
I will say,
changes cadence almost in a sense at times.
So Blizzard did a really good job with the VFX. I think that cone doesn't look like it's a soak. That cone looks like it's a dodge.
It looks like you're not supposed to be in it, right?
It's Bloodbound Horror frontal, I think, something like that.
Yeah, you are supposed to be in that. You are supposed to get half the raid in it, but it definitely does. It's one of those things where I bet if you're in like a no-voice pug, the first time it comes out, if you don't talk about strats before, everybody's going to run out of it and your tank's going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the big bombs, so this is something where this is a mechanic that gets a lot added on normal or on heroic and mythic, but on normal it just, you get out of that big circle and then it throws out these little bombs, and then a couple of people are going to get satchels attached to them as well. You can see on the other side of those room.
Okay.
And those people just spread out. On the higher difficulties, you need to soak with them, those spread out circles as well.
That was like a fusion we had last poll, actually.
Yeah.
2 polls ago.
And then other than that, it's mostly just swirly dodge on normal. Like basically, the only thing you want to stand in is this cone soak.
Oh, right. That cone right there is, yeah. So that cone there, though, like, there's no bomb overlap there. So, like
yeah, that one is an easy one.
Yeah, there's, like, easy and varying levels of difficulty based on the cadence of how the bigger bombs come out in this phase.
Why did the boss just move like that? Did the tank rip through?
It's on tank.
It's taunted, yeah. So I think it's one of those ones where it locks in the target of the cone at the start of the cast.
Yeah.
But if a tank taunts in the middle, it'll briefly spin around and give half your raid a heart attack.
Okay.
That's what it looked like to me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it was either that or what, he ripped threat, maybe?
Yeah, it could be, but
2 minutes into the bowl.
I think what probably happened is that's probably when you're supposed to taunt, right? And
yeah.
So you hit the taunt, and then the boss spins around and worries everybody for a second.
It looks sketch, but
yeah.
I guess that's the mechanic.
It all works out in the end, trust me.
Okay, so it looks like we're making the phase 2 push now.
Yep, max energy in the boss here. So you will see these technicians spawning in. They're already killed, actually, here. So we're going to see the bombs being deposited in the pylons here. And no real reason to prime these Ratnos, correct, in this phase, theoretically? Or
I don't think so, yeah. So let's see. 1 got thrown in there, and
the second's
2 go in there. So that one should be now getting destroyed, that laser. And it looks like, yeah, they've stopped it from firing. And it doesn't even look like on this difficulty it's immediately blowing up the floor here either.
Right. It saved you a little bit of time, actually, there, which is interesting. Last bomb being thrown in the
Yeah,
back
you can see
now.
everybody's got a pretty nasty dot on them right now. So I think what happened here was the bomb failed to get thrown off the platform, maybe? I'm not 100% sure, though.
I don't know what else
See
we
if we
can
can
see
see a
here. It
death
has to be
recap.
a bomb being on the platform too long.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it looks like that laser did get blown up.
These are one of those fights that I can see how this is going to be very difficult on heroic and
Yeah,
mythic.
I mean, I think even just comprehending what's going on, it doesn't do a great job of being visually obvious what wiped you there, right? Like, what exactly caused the death or something. Like, you'd have to kind of dive into the death recaps and actually see what the damage came from, because there wasn't just a big glowing, place where a bomb used to be that tells you like, oh, a bomb exploded here.
But the way that they were ticking out, they almost certainly had a dot that was unintended.
I think that this is going to be one of those fights where once you kind of understand what's happening, it's not actually that bad on normal. But even on normal, if you don't actually, given that it's day one, there's some of this confusion about what exactly is going on.
What's the situation with 5 splits simultaneously being ran? That's the most I've ever seen.
Particularly on normal, it makes sense, right? Because so basically, each extra split that you run, you are diluting your ratio of raiders to helpers.
Yes.
Which makes the split harder because the helpers are great, but they're not as good as liquid players, right? Is the theory. So as you move more and more in the direction of 25 helpers, 5 raiders, something like that, these runs start to get more and more difficult, right? But each extra split is more and more gear, right? If you're running 5 splits at the same time, that's 5 shots at each of those very rares in the same amount of time, and each of those very rares is going to go to a liquid raider, right? So
or time saved as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Because no heroic week. So I mean, you have to get in here and gear this up, but like the less time you spend in heroic is more time in mythic prog, right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to be a leader in these groups though. I don't want to be one of the big dogs leading these 5
Yeah,
splits.
I mean, it's actually an incredibly skill-intensive thing, right?
For sure.
Like, because remember, each time you wipe here, you are losing 5 or 10 minutes of time that you can either spend doing mythic prog or gearing up an M+, right? Something like that. So it is very costly. Every wipe here is as costly as the same time loss in mythic.
Something to point out as well is if you want to be a helper in some of these splits, you can type !Discord and join the Team Liquid Discord, and from there they'll be able to point you where you need to be. Liquid's also offering up some gold.
Yeah, it's actually a great deal. You get a bunch of gold, you fill up your vaults, you do pass on all the loot, so you don't take any items here unless you get some nice wooey drops, some warbound items. Can be. I think they're veteran track from
is it
from normal.
Is it wooey or is it woo?
I heard I saw a Blizzard post that said they called it wooey. Or maybe they call it. No, yeah, they call it wooey because I called it woo, but then I read the post and they called it wooey, and initially I thought that was stupid, but then I still think it's stupid, but now I think it's funny stupid, so I'm saying it myself,
Of course. Is that how you're also sitting in the back in the cast room screaming 5 big booms?
Yeah.
Was that also ironic to start and now it's permanent?
Yeah, I have this big problem where whether a saying just infects me and I can't stop saying it.
Boom! Boom! Boom!
I'm hearing some big booms.
That's awesome. Well,
that was actually Dratnos.
That's me, yeah.
I could go a little deeper, but
could be.
No. It was a deep voice. It was like very.
I could have a deep voice.
You could, yeah.
Let's get dorky impression.
I mean, the beard is suiting.
The dorky one's like 3 more octaves down.
Hey guys.
Hey guys. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Well, neither can he. That's why it's equalized and he pitches it down 3 octaves.
Yeah, it's a voice-changing software.
Exactly.
Oh, well known.
NVIDIA broadcast is very powerful these days.
It is.
It can be.
Been able to run that on the Alienwares here, the caster computers.
I got the big rigs. The big rigs.
Plug.
Yeah.
See, that's why they pay you the big bucks. That's
right.
a good plug.
The big, yeah.
It's crazy. They were like, oh, we've got some of the some good computers and some less good computers for the casters, and they're just all sick.
Yeah.
Even though the in theory less good ones are just so top of the line. It's incredible.
I built a new computer when I got home after the last race, and I wanted the Alienware ones here, so actually I had to build my own computer. But these ones are better than what I just built. So
nice.
Makes sense.
Wait, what?
Nice.
I thought it's a skill gap. Like, it wasn't my fault. I don't know.
Might have. He was thinking it pretty loud, at least.
I didn't say that, but.
What do you mean to do? Whatever. Okay, dude. Whatever.
I said that makes sense.
Does this count as both y'all making fun of me? That's on the bingo card.
No, I don't think we've made fun of you yet.
Yeah.
That's coming later, though.
Yet. Okay.
That's basically a free square. I thought they said to not put free squares on it.
They did.
Dude,
You know what's funny? I also put Dratnos makes fun of Kalamazoo on my bingo sheet.
That's crazy. I didn't put one of those. I feel like it would have been pretty unethical for me to put that, though, because I could directly make that happen,
Well,
Have we shown our caster bingo cards yet?
We haven't yet. No.
Okay. That's going to be something in the future?
Yeah, we'll get to it soon.
What are you perusing on this laptop?
I'm perusing our donations to our charity, Pasadena Humane Society, but I don't think we got any more since the last time.
Yeah, if you're interested in helping support the Pasadena Humane Society, incredible cause, tl.gg/rwf-donate.
Indeed,
we have to go for that.
We have 4. We can just read them off here momentarily.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
List Gallywix here. We have $50 from Christy. #1 leaderboard, actually. Thank you for that. 25 from Zincy?
Zincy, yeah.
Zincy,
That's
there
right.
you go. Yeah. Zincy. Sir Dragon with 25.
Sir Dragon, or was it just Dragon?
It's Pendragon. I think Kalamazoo maybe can't read from this far away.
And it's tough. Sephi Bear with $10. Look at that.
Like you actually that. What caused you to say Sir Dragon instead of Pendragon here?
So I'm a little.
Do we need to increase the font size on this computer?
I thought it might have been a unique play on words and something that I wasn't going to.
I see. You thought the pen was was something they were trying to bait you
a
into
different
saying
writing
something
instrument
bad.
that I was thinking of. Yes.
I see.
Yes. I see. I'm a little older than you. I grew up in times where that was. Anyways.
All right, so we're actually into a nice phase 3. You can see the ground has been zapped there. That does mean that they've managed to hit that with the 2 bombs into that Giga Laser.
I think this is going to be... It's kind of interesting because I think there's going to be basically a soft enrage on the boss,
Yeah.
probably on Heroic and Mythic as well. Kind of similar to what we saw from Sire Denathrius back in Castle Nathrius.
Yeah, or Lei Shen back in the ancient times with the same kind of lightning on the ground.
Now you're really appeasing the boomers. And
Well, it was literally the exact same with like lightning quadrants.
Yeah.
Getting taken away because Sire Denathrius was thirds of the room, not quarters.
So, in phase 3, which we are in here now, essentially, one part of the room gets empowered every time, regardless of the pylon.
I think you have to blow up at least one part of the room. In one of the previous splits, we saw them accidentally kind of blow up the whole room.
Yeah,
which you don't want to do.
We had one quadrant with like the fire lines and power bombs. Like, there's nowhere to go, right? It's very, very hard to find any room to move. But that would make sense. It's like a soft enrage.
How do you feel about Execute in this raid and on this fight in particular?
It seems very good. I mean, Execute damage seems extremely potent because all of the last 3 bosses in this raid have it's sort of an enrage timer that starts at low HP, right? So whenever you push Gallywix to P3, whenever you push Mugsy below 40, I think, and Big Hitter, or what is it, the one-armed bandit
with the
below 30,
yeah,
those all start damage burns, right? And the end of those wipe you. So Execute damage is going to be extremely valuable this raid. We're looking at stuff like a DPS Warrior has some Execute damage, although that did get nerfed. Yeah, Arms Warrior. Yeah, Tank Warrior, Execute damage actually. Arcane Mage, tremendous Execute damage on that spec, especially in AoE situations as well. They can get, their Arcane Barrage is AoE and Execute button. Rogues have some Execute as well.
Shadow Priest not bad.
Shadow Priest has some, yeah. There are little pieces of Execute in a bunch of kits as well. The Hunters, in theory, have Kill Shot.
Okay.
Which MM is the main spec that interacts with it, and MM is also a spec that's looking kind of weak this time, so not much there. So yeah, I would say the main ones are, Arcane, Warrior, Arcane Mages, DPS
Warriors,
and Tank Warriors. Those are effects that have a lot of Execute. Fire actually doesn't have great Execute, but what Fire does have is Execute gives you mobility.
Yeah.
So on a fight like this, running the bombs, for instance, while doing your full damage rotation is something that Fire can do in the Execute phase. So that might also be value.
Yeah. Quite interesting. Well, should be dying here momentarily. They actually lived a little longer in this phase than they were in the last few kills here, but you did see one section become empowered every time, so I would assume it is like a one section per tune-up phase in phase 3 here.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming out on the raid, but it looks like they are going to get over the finish line there.
Ooh, an Eye of Kazan.
One eye.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we need Jaster Diamond rings and Eye of Kazan trinkets.
Titan of Industry is good too. That's a Galley Tech limited edition, which is so there are Galley Tech limited edition items off of the last 2 bosses.
Okay.
They're not very rares, but they are weapons, or in this case a shield, with slightly better value because they have this like dot on them.
Like Fire Rack weapon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's sort of like the Fire Rack weapons, right? Except that it's off of Mugsy and Gallywix.
Do you care about Bomb Suit in Raid?
I don't think Bomb Suit's going to be a particularly high value trinket, but it might be if there's a boss that murders tanks. So it's a tank trinket off of Gallywix that gives you a 75% ignore pain on use.
Yeah.
That absorbs like 11 million damage as well, which is a lot of damage. So that might be a valuable trinket to have access to. I don't think you're trying to play that though, because it is a very low damage trinket.
A lot of tanks were playing it in Mythic Plus during
Yeah, I think it is
PTR
going to be an
testing.
M plus a trinket because it's one of those buttons that you just sort of press as an extra defensive.
Yeah, okay.
But in Raid, we usually don't see tanks playing those sorts of trinkets.
Right.
Sometimes we do, right? Like, I mean, Fire Axe Tainted Rage Heart did
That was
see
like a
some
DPS
play.
trinket as well in a sense, sort of, right?
Yeah,
it was a hybrid, I guess, in a sense.
It does a little bit of damage, but it's going to do a lot less damage than something like a stat stick, for instance, on a tank.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they did nerf damage trinkets for tank specs, so if you put on just a DPS trinket as a tank, it does do less damage than if a DPS is carrying it. So playing tank trinkets is maybe a little bit better.
I think most people are looking for Eye of Kazan.
Yeah, Eye of Kazan is just good for everybody, though. It's going to be almost impossible to get your hands on that thing.
Would you wear it in normal?
Maybe, yeah.
A normal
Or
eye?
from
probably,
normal, sorry.
Yeah, champion track eye.
I mean, yeah, champion eye is like what? What's eye level on normal gear? It's like 639, right? Something like that?
Well, yeah, it'll go up to like
652,
658 or something.
Yeah, I think
it goes
normal
way up.
gear is like
Yeah.
mythic gear max right now. I mean, I think you can throw it on for sure.
No, normal year's it's better than last year mythic gear. When
Well, yeah,
once you
starting,
upgrade it,
I mean, like lower champion. Yeah, I mean, they nerfed transmitter. Web's been nerfed. I mean, whether you're like a caster or even like, isn't transmitter good for most melee stuff as well?
They nerfed,
They nerfed
they nerfed
this
transmitter,
year.
yeah.
Yeah.
They nerfed Spy Masters. They've nerfed a bunch of the trinkets that we would maybe
Right.
carry into this year. I think Spy Masters maybe is still going to get carried for a while.
It seems decent, yeah. Still.
Any fight that's over, I want to say like 5 or 6 minutes, Eye of Kazan is just almost uniformly going to be the best.
Yeah,
trinket.
Eye of Kazan is, so for those who don't know, that's a trinket off the last boss, and it's any stat, and it's sort of like Spy Master where it stacks up over time, except unlike Spy Masters, it doesn't have an on-use, but unlike Spy Masters, when it is fully stacked, it does a damage proc instead when it would stack an extra stack, so it's a huge stat stick that also does a bunch of free damage procs if the fight is a long time. If it's a short fight, it's pretty bad.
In addition to that, it's also kind of bait in Mythic Plus. It might be like decent in Mythic
Yeah,
Plus.
might fall off.
Yeah, it reads the stacks decay
Right.
rapidly whenever you're not in combat, and decay rapidly means 1 stack every second, 1 stack every 1.5 seconds, something like that, where they are just like gone almost
The
immediately.
moment you come out of combat, it starts dropping?
Yes.
Interesting.
It is like, it is pretty cursed. So I think it's sim bait for Mythic Plus, but it's excellent for raid.
Yeah, okay. Don't die with it on then.
What are they doing here?
So this is another split now. It looks like they're clearing trash here. I think this is the trash to Sprocket Monger.
Oh, Sprocket Monger, okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
This is like the foyer of the Galagio.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't do the normal testing. I just did all the Mythic testing, and so I didn't actually clear any of the trash, so I don't know where we're going.
There's a lot of trash
here.
There's a
available
lot of
in this
trash.
raid, yeah. A question that is actually very relevant is which trash drops BOEs as well, because BOE farming could be big value this tier because there's so much trash, but maybe they'll make that trash that's accessible after the first boss not dropping.
I heard a rumor that something got changed with BOEs and spell data at some point, but I didn't know what exactly
Yeah, I
what
also
happened.
don't know exactly what's happened with it, but we'll see. I mean, if BOE farming is doable,
There's
I
death
wouldn't be
skipping
surprised if we saw them do it this tier, because I think it was good to do last year, and it was kind of hard to find the time for it, but
You had to do past Brew Twister last year, right?
that was the best
Roshanon-
BOE farming,
Roshanon?
but you could just do after the first boss. You could get...
Didn't they change it though? Or is
So
it-
they changed it so the trash before the first boss didn't drop it.
Oh, okay.
But you could still always farm the trash after the first boss before the second boss.
Okay.
But yeah, the best farm, I think, was after the first 4 were dead.
They wanted you to not be allowed to split trash farming.
Right, which you could do with the trash before the first boss. This time around, there's not a lot of trash before the first boss, but there is a ton of trash accessible after the first boss.
Yeah.
So if that drops BOEs, yeah, we might well see, something like kill the first boss on Mythic and then do a day of BOE farm, key, BOE farm, key, BOE farm, that kind of thing. For just a lot of turbo item level boosting.
Made it to one-armed bandit is what this room is right here.
Yep.
This is the other high-value item boss.
Yes.
The best in slots weapon, insane Fury
House of
Bisque for a lot of
Cards. Yep.
specializations I can wear. And House of Cards is an incredibly over-budget on-use trinket.
There's
So-
also a ring from One-Armed Bandit that has random stats on it. So that can be that's BIS for
Yeah,
everybody. With the caveat of if you roll your BIS stat as it's a heavily lopsided stat budget one. So it'll be like 80% one stat, 20%
like
another.
5,000, 2,000 or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that sort of distribution.
Is there a CD on the roll though? Or no?
I think it just rolls when it drops.
Okay, Jack was saying you could
Yeah,
roll it over
I
and
was
over and
looking at
over.
it. It doesn't have an on use, so
I thought that's how it was too.
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it just drops.
That's
like, you might get a
super
mastery crit
interesting
one.
then.
You might get a verse haste one, right?
Ooh. Kettle's just staring at me menacingly.
Why do they? Dude, they're cooking with
It
games
also has
sometimes.
+1 luck on it as
Wait,
well.
it's a slot machine.
You should have asked about this in the interview.
I didn't have time, man. There's no time.
What? Anyways.
Yeah. And then this also is a tier boss that drops the tier helmet. So
Okay.
yeah, I think overall it is definitely this boss and Gallywix that have the best overall loot. Mugsy is a little bit worse because the very rare from Mugsy is much more niche. It's an agi strength fist weapon.
Yeah.
So you actually can put it on like Prot Warrior. It's a strength fist weapon, which is pretty weird.
Interesting. Actually, it's weird.
Yeah. I think that's the only strength user that can wear a fist weapon.
5, 4.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so actually.
So it's like a one of the
Wait, no,
one of the
can
very rare fixed weapons, and then also Prot Warriors randomly.
Yeah, interesting. Huh.
Yeah, which does a lot of damage. Prot Warrior does a lot of damage, and it's a very high single target weapon, so.
Yeah, well, there we go.
I think Prot Warriors will be very hungry to get their hands on that thing.
Did you see Prot Warrior was like simming like 2.5 million DPS or something?
Yeah, and it does a lot of execute damage as well, so.
That's more than Aff and Destro. Can we please tune the game right, please?
it was simming 2.5 mil with the caveat that they were only pressing execute.
Yeah, the problem with Prot Warrior is that execute does cost you your rage.
Yeah.
And your rage is what you use to put up shield block and ignore pain. So
ignore it. Yeah, exactly. Ignore pain, just damage.
So I think a tank comp though of like say Prot Warrior Blood DK could go kind of hard because the Blood DK can just tank the boss 90% of the time, and the Prot Warrior can just taunt for a couple of tank hits and otherwise be doing damage.
How are you feeling about DK on Gallywix with those ads that were spawning?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see if they were grippable,
I don't believe so.
You don't believe so?
I don't think so. I could be wrong, though.
There were a lot of them, and they were pretty small. So if they are grippable, if Mass Grip or Grippy Hands works on them, then yeah, at least one Blood Decay is going to be super sick on that fight. But if not, then it's probably just medium.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, this fight, the main mechanic in this fight is there's 4 different types of ads, right? You've got,
yeah, this fight doesn't have grippable
this
ads.
fight, yes.
We're talking about the Gallywix Technician.
Oh, I'm sorry,
yeah.
yes, okay, yeah.
This fight's not CC.
I was going to say, you can't grip these.
Yeah,
Gallywix
these ones spawn in 3 fixed positions, and they are indeed like rooted to them.
That's why I was like, I don't think you can grip those. Maybe on pull, but yeah, on Gallywix for sure. The Technician ads in like Intermission and Phase 3.
If they're grippable, then yeah.
You can just stack the bombs as well, right?
That would be nice.
The small ads that spawn, not the main ones that you have to kill to feed the coins,
right.
Those are CCable though.
Sure, yeah.
On here, I
those
believe so, yeah.
Tend to not be too. At least they don't. I don't think that's going to be the hard part of this fight.
Yeah.
I think the hard part's going to be the enrage, honestly.
Maybe, yeah. So this is a boss that has that enrage sequence. So basically, once you push the boss to 30%, I believe, it starts this cast sequence, and at the end of that cast sequence, your raid explodes. So you need to kill the boss in that time frame. It's going to be, I think, a very exciting burn phase on Mythic. But what that means is that specs that do bonus damage below 30% are extra valuable on this fight, because that is the most relevant damage that you can do on this fight. So yeah, any spec that's good at that is going to shine on this boss. And the good news is it looks like Mugsy and Gallywix also reward that kind of damage. So yeah, I think this is shaping up to be a very execute damage tier.
This fight's going to be crazy on Mythic as well, because where you're feeding the boss the coins from what ad is going to be a huge decision point. And for Race World First guilds, you know, designing the strat that all the guilds then come and copy later on is crazy.
It's interesting as well because you get 3 ads spawning, and there are a total of 4 symbols, and each ad will have a different symbol on it.
Exactly.
And each of the spawns will contain the same 3 symbols from pull to pull. So you might always get, say, fire, lightning, coin or something on the first one, for instance. But they might spawn in different positions. At least on PTR testing, they spawned in different positions. And at least when I was testing this boss, it felt like doing the 2 that were next to each other, right? Not doing left and right, but doing middle and one of the sides was more important than which ones you did, because it was just so inefficient to move the boss all the way to the other side.
Yeah.
So in that case, you might not actually be able to just replicate the same exact intermission from pull to pull.
You can't do the same first one every single time, though, right?
You can't do the same 2 coins twice.
Oh, you can't do the same 2 coins twice.
Yeah, if you deposit like Shock and Flame, you can't do it again for the rest of the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
That's off the table.
You have to do. You can't do the same combination ever again.
And there's 6 total combos.
Yeah.
So I mean, you'll typically beat that regardless. I would assume, maybe barring Mythic, but still.
Yeah, on Mythic, it might be a case of you
do 6
barely beat it because you're kind of you probably, if you're beating it by a lot, you might want to slow damage so you can save more for the burn phase.
Right. Yeah.
This fight is going to farm a lot of guilds with the coins coming out, one-shotting people, immediately rolling over you and killing you.
Yeah.
That was a.
They made the floor texture a lot clearer. Darker. At least it used to be. It used to be a lot more invisible.
Yeah.
It used to be just like light blue, and now it's kind of deep purple.
Unfortunately, not much here. I don't think.
Yeah.
No House of Cards.
Slightly suboptimal loot for sure.
Yeah.
Got some of those rings that you guys were talking about a second ago.
I think there was maybe a ring there. Yeah. Is that miniature roulette wheel?
I believe. I think it is what it's called, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was one of those. I'm not sure what stats it rolled.
Dude, you were such an RPer. Just knows the name of the item.
Oh, sorry for doing my job.
I can't even read that, so I'm just going with what Dratnos says. Sure.
That one says stunned. Okay, it's over.
All I can read in this read is Raiders are doing splits.
Raiders are doing splits.
Yeah, which they are. Yeah.
What does it say below Raiders are doing splits?
Couldn't tell you.
You couldn't tell me?
I'm not even kidding.
You can't read that?
Buddy, we gotta get you some glasses.
There are 5 split groups total. I'm currently running normal. I gotta focus on that though.
I see.
I left it in my car. My car is in Florida.
Okay, well that's going to be a little bit farther than we could probably pick up.
Yeah, well, you know.
Depending on how long the race is, we might.
That's true. Well, yeah, it's a long story.
We could get you like a monocle.
Oh, that'd be sick.
I feel
if
like
it's
with
the
your
raid.
current hairstyle, a monocle could go crazy.
Dude, that'd be good.
Your
Yeah.
aesthetic,
The
yeah.
monocle mullet. Let's go.
Yeah.
The monocle.
That might be a first-time combination.
That's like a boss in WoW. The monocle mullet.
Yeah, that could be a good name for like a helmet out of this raid, actually.
Speaking of first times, if you want $20, hear me out, $20, you can head on over to tl.gg/CoinbaseRWF and use the code TEAMLiquid20, and that way you can get $20 in USDC.
That's true. Also through having, I'm making an account later, right? Did you make an account?
I think I already have one, but I gotta check. Yeah.
Various giveaways through there as well.
I had one as well.
Like, well, I'll contribute more also. I'm down for $20 in USDC. Let's go.
I gotta diversify.
Yeah, that's gonna like
your
triple
portfolio.
Kalamazi's net worth, actually.
Yeah, it's actually very true. Look at that. You know, it's a lot of Taco Bell. You know, it's like 15 Doritos Locos Tacos.
Yeah, you can get one of those boxes for 2. One of the things I've learned is that whenever there's something that says like meal for 2, they don't check. You can just have it all yourself.
Yeah, meal for 2.
There's no verification system. Well, yeah, that's the thing. There's no they.
The
You just
family
can.
meal is the meal for me. For
Yeah.
The family pack.
I'm the family.
Or the fatty pack. That's me.
See, if this was like 30 years ago, you'd be ordering pizza and you'd be doing the thing where you pretend to be having a conversation. They're like, "What kind of pizza you want?" And you're like, "You guys want pepperoni?" And there's just nobody there. You're like, "Yeah, we'll get pepper. We'll get 2 of them actually."
I still do that. You don't do that?
Well, now you guys do contactless delivery, right?
That's true. Yeah, it's to hide the shame.
Yeah. Well, you know, I have a chair outside my apartment. It sits there permanently for the food deliveries.
No way.
Yeah, pizza, wings, throw it on the chair. We're good to go.
Is that what it says in like the additional info section? Put it in the chair.
Put it on the chair.
Leave on chair.
You need to get one of those like library deposit systems where how people return books.
Oh,
and that's just like the slot they put the food in.
Put the food in the slot.
Yeah.
You are absurd.
You know, when you get this old, you optimize a lot of things in life titles for least convenience. Or inconvenience.
Least convenience?
Least inconvenience, yeah.
All right, so we're into another Mugsy here. So this is the second to last boss, and it has some pretty cool mechanics where there's sort of 2 different versions of the fight that you decide which one you're fighting based on which side of the room you're in. On Mythic, you actually need all 20 of your players on either side to force that side's mechanics. On the lower difficulties, it's just whichever side has the majority of your raid on it.
Right. Yeah, and the boss does enter his like phase 2. Both bosses active at 40% here, which we've seen him do like a. It lasts like half a minute. It's like a double finger gun, kind of like spinning rotational ability, which spawns a million lightning pools, and then you do begin getting opposing side mechanics on essentially both sides.
I have a question. What do your guys' guilds call the caged ads on this fight?
The goons, I believe.
Goon cage.
Yeah, in the goon cages,
In
which
the
I
goon
think
cage,
is the actual
right?
mechanic.
Go in the goon cage.
Yeah,
well, it's a gowl cage.
We were also
jail is the
the goon jail.
Yeah, it's GAOL, which is an archaic spelling of jail. They use that in like Elden Ring as well.
Yeah, it's right here on screen right there. You see those big
Earthshaker
circles?
jail.
Yeah, so we're gonna get the goon.
But there are
jail coming
goons
out.
inside of it, so that's
Right,
why
yeah.
they're goon cages.
Yeah, we have goon groups pre-assigned, so we're good to go there.
Yeah.
Would you call them? Never mind.
Speaking of that, breaking the goon cage, breaking out here. So
now here comes the tank mechanic. The tank's gonna get knocked back and drop behind this yellow liquid as they run from the boss.
What kind of liquid is that? Is that gold?
I think it's gold, yeah.
It could be. I think it's gold substance.
Yeah, and you just have to keep moving. If you basically stop moving, you're not going to be able to clear all of it, and then you get stunned for 30 seconds. So you keep moving,
These
leave it in a
frost
nice
traps here
corner.
don't spawn spears on normal, actually.
Yeah, on the higher difficulties, these will then like aim spears, and you use that to break the walls of the jails.
Okay.
And on Mythic, the sliding is permanent until you hit the fire on the other side.
Bro, this boss during heroic and mythic testing, this was one of those fights that you finish the testing and you go, thank goodness I don't have to design this strat for this boss. Thank goodness I'm going to copy somebody else.
Yeah,
exactly. Very much so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I actually watched like Instant Dollars do their mythic testing whenever I realized how you were supposed to kill the bombs even on mythic. They started using that like long beam.
Yeah.
We kept trying to use the big soak circle, and that was just so bad. That was never killing the bombs.
Basically the mythic mechanics of this is that a lot of the mechanics on each side require mechanics from the other side to handle them.
Yeah.
So on Mythic, it's going to be a very delicate dance because the boss, you basically will transfer which side you're on, and that you kind of manipulate the spell casting sequence by when you decide to go to the other side. But here we can see the Bullet Storm. We've pushed below 40%, so now we're in the last phase. In this phase, the boss bloodlusts, and then also we'll now do mechanics from both sides during this phase. But first we get a couple of these Bullet Storms, which are, I would say this is kind of actually a relaxing part.
Yeah, wait a second.
It's honestly pretty chill, yeah. But it gets crazy pretty soon. You're going to have both the Goon cages spawning in after these two robots, I believe right after this. And after the cages spawn in, you got to break them fast. There's an actual raid soak that comes up as well. And if you're not in, I don't believe the raid soak looks like through LOS. We haven't figured that out yet. But what they're going to do when the cages spawn in, they actually stack the raid soak in the cages. But we can't really tell if that works or not yet.
What do you mean?
Like, so there's a large raid split soak, fire soak on this side. The actual cages that spawn right here, the people that are inside are LOS. You can't target them if you're outside. So like you can't heal them if they're inside the cage. You can't DPS outside the cage. All you can hit is the ads inside.
Oh yeah.
Right. So people have been bringing the fire soak like that in the middle of the cages there.
Nice.
So, yeah. So we're splitting it amongst people in the cages. Actual Link comes out in the back there for a bit extra healing. And the boss should die in the next half minute or so. But you can see how this phase just ramps in difficulty. It's doing both sides simultaneously.
Early on during testing, you could actually rescue people out of those cages.
I don't think you can anymore. You can Chaos Bolt cleave outside of them, but I don't think you can. I haven't seen it.
I think also if you just leave the ad alone in a cage, it'll start shielding the boss, which is not good.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that would be.
Yeah. On Mythic, by the way, I think you have to have 10 people on each side, and the boss will put like a laser in the middle of the room that splits the room in half.
On Mythic, you have to have people that are soaking.
Yeah, it's going to be super cool. All right, so the boss goes down. Looks like nothing too crazy here. We got one of the rings.
What do we want from this boss, Thanos?
There's the very rare fist weapon.
Okay.
And then there is the there's some Galleytech limited edition stuff, a one-handed int mace and a gun.
Okay.
There's a mastery heavy with a little bit of haste necklace that I think is going to be good for a lot of specs as well.
Okay.
And then there are a couple of trinkets. There's an int trinket.
The Moxie jar.
Yeah, the Moxie jug, which will give you, so it's an int trinket, and then when it procs, you get some crit. And it sort of stacks up over 15 seconds without increasing the
Good
duration.
trinket, yeah.
So it'll give you a bunch of crit over that time. And then there's also Z's Thug Hotline, which is another trinket from that boss that will call in the thugs to help you out, the Goon Squad. And so it's Agi or Strength, and it procs 10 seconds of help from the Goon Squad members randomly. But when you hit Lust, you get the full Goon Squad. So it doesn't, I don't think it was simming especially well. But
it sounds terrible the way you're describing it.
It sounds so cool.
But it's cool. You get the Goon Squad to come help you out. So yeah, that's a trinket that is off that boss.
Anyway.
Don't ask that question.
Yeah, Moxie Jar has actually changed a few days ago. So it actually wasn't stacking with like dots and hots, but it is now.
Ah,
so,
nice.
Like, the caster one, if it procs like dot-based classes like Aflox or
you're gonna get full value.
Talking about it being much stronger.
Nice.
Because they decrease the ICD on the stack rate, but also things stack the effect much better now. So
they buffed it too.
They might have.
Yeah, there's a lot of int trinkets from this raid that are pretty good. The reverb radio is also sick.
Yeah, it's going to be something that they'll probably have less access to if they keep running these 4 out of 8s because it's from one of the earlier bosses.
It's a haste proc trinket.
Yeah, it procs haste, and then once it gets to full stacks, you get like double value for 15 seconds, then it resets.
I've seen that. That was the buggy one for PTR. You can just wear it and take it off. And keep
You're going to have to be more specific.
Yeah. You could wear
there are a lot of buggy ones.
Stack the effect, take it off, and it would just stay on you.
Oh, that's good.
It worked till last week. I don't know if it still works now. Not a good one, though, regardless. I don't want that.
All right, looks like we're about to have Gallywix here pulled by Split Team Severed Splits. Good split name.
The Severed Splits.
It's like
Severed Strands, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Severed Strands reference, perhaps a Severance reference, right? We got a little double value there.
You haven't seen it.
Yeah, the Severance is a big, popular one amongst Liquid Guild leadership.
I thought you were just gonna set me up there.
No.
The way I said it, you were like, "Yeah, it's a popular." I thought you were just gonna grill me.
No, it's good. It's good. It's a good show. You should check it out. It's great. It was what our Race World First announcement was, a Severance reference.
Didn't know what it was from, but I thought it was funny. I knew it was some kind of TV show.
Yeah, it's a really good show. No meme.
You know, it's also a really good show.
What?
The Race World First on twitch.tv/TeamLiquid. And if you want to watch it uninterrupted by ads, you can subscribe now.
That's right. It's day 1 of the Race to World First, which means there's no better time to hit that sub button. Get ad-free viewing for the entire Race to World First, unless it goes over a month, which
I hope not.
Hasn't since Tuma Sargeras or something. So,
but it could happen.
Could it? Yeah, this could be it. In which case, you know,
that's
even bigger value. Hold on, that's even bigger value.
Yeah, that's true. If this goes over a month, you're getting 30 days of you know, ad-free viewing by subbing today. So just think about it, right? You're going to be watching the stream over the next few weeks as the race goes on. Hit that sub button now. Dodge all those ads because we got to play a lot of ads to keep the lights on around these parts.
And in addition to that, if you have a Prime sub available, you're not even using your own money, you're using Jeff Bezos' money.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's how that works.
Keep Tettles fed. Sub now.
Please. I am simply begging.
You should have seen him eating lunch. He had a 20-pound bowl of meat he was dragging around behind him. Like,
Yeah, it looked like a bowl of like food that you'd give a dog on its birthday.
Well, you know, it was pretty good to be fair.
It was great, yeah.
Anyway,
I say that as a compliment, not as a criticism.
I laugh as a criticism. Don't worry.
Anyways.
Is that part of your bingo card?
Me getting bullied? No, you getting bullied was part of my bingo card, actually.
Right, well, okay. The month is young. All right, don't worry. Plenty of time. I feel like phase 1 of this fight is missing a mechanic, but...
Yeah, I mean, that's the normal
It's
thing,
normal.
right? Like, I think they talked about this in an interview between last race and this one is... So I think somebody asked the question of, like, which difficulty they designed fights on. I think the answer was they started in Heroic, and then they, you know, cut mechanics down for the lower difficulties and add them for Mythic.
That tracks. I mean, I think that a lot of the times the Mythic key difference is there are some mechanics that change the fight tremendously. More often than not, though, it's just a little bit more mechanic spam. Some of the overlaps are a lot more challenging.
Yeah.
And that feels like that's normally the Mythic difficulty right there.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, actually here on Heroic drops an additional bomb that should clear out of the way.
Yep.
1,500-pound dud bomb.
There's the
It's like
tank
me.
soak ones, right?
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
So there are tank soak bombs from each of those big explosion ones that a tank needs to like run into, and I think there are going to be 2 of them. I haven't actually seen it on Heroic, but my guess is that there will be 1 from each thing, and then maybe more on Mythic. And you basically need to have the off tank soak one, and then it explodes, does a bunch of damage, and knocks you.
Yeah.
And I think you need to get knocked to the other one so you can soak it as well in time.
At what point do they no longer have excess bombs, do you think? And they have to have like the perfect amount of bombs thrown into the laser?
I think that'll probably be Mythic, if anything. I wouldn't be surprised if you still have to throw them off the edge on Mythic as well. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a vulnerability associated with doing it on Mythic.
How many are you getting per set? 8?
I think it's more right now than 8.
Yeah, but that might be a raid sizing thing as well.
Oh,
right? Of course, on these lower difficulties, we're at 30-player raid sizing, so it may scale with that.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah, by the way, that's something that people ask as well. Because we're playing on the 30-player size, the healers that look good is often going to make some specs look better than others. For instance, Holy Priest often looks really good on 30-player raid sizing. Disc Priest often looks pretty bad, although we do have Disc Priest in 3rd on the meters right now. But historically, I think sometimes people get the wrong idea about which healers are going to be good on Mythic based on how the meters look on Heroic.
Well, Radiance and Atonement ramps from Disc on a 30-man raid just doesn't really work
you
very
can hit the
well.
same number of players, so you're hitting a smaller percentage of the raid on 30-player raid sizing.
Precisely.
Yeah. Although again, still doing a lot of HPS here.
Yeah. Do you see that last probably the last technician spawning in here. You might see one more depending on how long this goes. So there's 3 bombs on the left side. I'm trying to see how many we get per set here. Is it 1 per technician?
I think so.
Okay, so that should be at least 6, but I guess that would correspond to saving 2 pylons and tossing 2. It probably depends on raid size, like you said as well. But
I feel like here that 6 is the correct number.
Yeah, we can watch now. THD is going to throw one off the edge.
Well, right, but you're going to have a pylon become unstable or whatever it's called regardless, though, here, I believe. Right? Yeah, he tosses one in the middle here.
Yeah, so they're just getting rid of those extras. Because they do blow up for a lot of raid damage if you don't get rid of them. Then he's going to soak one of those exploding bombs, getting this heal absorb on him. On the higher difficulties, I think when you clear that healing absorb, it damages your raid as well. So going to be a scary moment, I think.
Heal absorbs are just in general a very scary mechanic on your players, and
that's the kind of thing where Resto Druid as well might shine on that against that sort of damage profile. So I think a lot of people are projecting that Resto Druid is going to be the mark of the wild this tier.
I think a lot of people are looking at priests, healer priests, both Discipline and Holy and Mystery Monk.
Yeah, that could be the comp as well, like two priests, 2 monk healers, and then you play like a bear or something for your mark of the wild. This is a fight though that it looks pretty good for Moonkin to me as well.
Yeah,
the way these technicians
like?
work.
I have no idea.
I'm hearing bad things about Moonkin single target, but this fight looks like one that Moonkin would be good at with just the kind of spread cleave.
Yeah, it was good during testing on most of the bosses, but you know, Race World First Guild's having a have a really good ability to turn every AoE fight into a meat grinder.
A meat grinder fight?
Yeah, that's true.
Uncanny ability. Everything becomes a meat grinder in the world first, yeah.
Yeah.
What, Antrek, a great example of that with the ad spawning in Phase 3.
Iraq, they just grouped up these mobs that spawn 60 yards away.
Yep. With Nox and
Jaster
belts.
Diamond.
There it is.
Oh, there it is.
The Jaster Diamond for the D. Bottom left, THD.
There we go.
2 Jaster Diamonds are on screen.
Wow.
Is it 2 diamonds?
Yeah, Jaster Diamond, bottom left.
What?
Don't explain it.
It's fine. Okay, I get it. I get it. It's fine.
He's just saying that if you look at him, he
You're
doesn't get
referring
it.
to THD and the drop itself, correct?
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right, actually.
We'll have to see
say,
who,
you know what, Teddles?
who is the lucky winner
Forget it.
of this Jaster Diamond.
Who does this go to first? I mean, I would just, like, not even...
I think you maybe give it to THD here if the split's been looking good.
Everybody wants that ring. That
Yeah,
ring
the
is
problem
nuts.
is that it's a normal one, so you kind of aren't hoping to get it because you kind of don't want your... You'd rather get it on Heroic if you could, but obviously if you get it on normal, you're really happy, and then you're never going to get it on Heroic because you'll give it to somebody else.
Yeah, you have to take into account, like, actual end comp, or end boss comp here also, because this is a rare item, right? And a lot of the earlier bosses in the raid are cleave-based, but the ones we talked about at the end here are execute-based, and they're predominantly a bit more single-target-esque than the first few, too, right? So do you just prioritize, like, warriors here, maybe a mage? I mean...
Yeah, Shadow Priest, I think, could be a very good option as well. I think a safe place for it to go. But again, it's like, you know, your THD is going to play a Warlock. He's probably going to be in the raid, right? So, but it's a question of which Warlock is he playing, right? Do you want to... Because I think you're hoping that this Jaster Diamond goes to a main, but it's very early to know who's maining what, right? You haven't done your Heroic splits yet. You have no idea, right, who's going to get lucky on all the other drops that will make a main good. So it's actually, I think this is one of the hardest things to do is assign this Jaster Diamond that drops at this spot in the timeline. Probably one of the most likely ones to get accidentally put on an alt.
Yeah, getting fed a normal Alakazan is going to feel terrible, too. I don't want that.
Now, you do get a little bit of time. They can put this on somebody and log out. I think you get 4 hours, right?
They stopped.
Did they fix that?
Well,
or is it still a thing?
it still ticks down, but you do have 4 hours.
It's 4 hours, and it ticks down even when you're offline.
Okay.
But you could wait and get another 2 hours worth of information before being forced to log in and accept the trade.
Which these Race World First guilds do.
They do that.
They optimize it with spreadsheets by a lot of their analysts. A lot of the analysts do most of the work in terms of simming best upgrades, trying to figure out loot allocation. That's during these heroic splits, they're not just like sitting there devising strats for Mythic, although that may be part of some of their jobs. More often than not, they're sitting there with like spreadsheets open, looking at who's getting what loot from where and what potential mains are, like Dratnus was talking about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, there has been a lot of time spent devising initial strategies for these bosses. That was done over the last few months, right? That was done after PTR testing. Now, almost all of the analyst work is going to be based on loot optimization until we see bosses pulled. Now, Gallywix, there was a lot of information gained from normal that might be extrapolatable into heroic and mythic. So there may be some work going on Gallywix strat, tuning. Again, the Gallywix strat is probably going to be a very rough draft. Whatever they first pull the boss with is going to be a very rough draft, but there are still improvements they could probably make based off of what they saw here on normal, because some of the phrasing of the abilities was pretty ambiguous, and that ambiguity has been resolved if the mechanic was on normal as well. Some of the mythic mechanics and heroic mechanics, of course, weren't on normal, so still a big question mark about how that works. And a lot of Gallywix is going to be based on timers and numbers of things as well.
Mythic also begins in the shielded phase. Just to mention, like phase 1 and 2 are basically gone.
It's like Gul'dan.
It's basically like Gul'dan, where you pull the boss and it's like, oh, that heroic phase is gone. We're just starting with all of it. So it's going to be very interesting because there's basically only one phase of Mythic in the Dungeon Journal, but there hasn't been a one-phase Mythic end boss in...
Since Gul'dan, right?
Well, no, he had two
Gul'dan
phases.
had multiple phases still. Gul'dan still had P1, P2.
It was a secret phase,
and secret phase as well.
Yeah.
Gul'dan had 3.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, if you count that, there's 3 on Gul'dan still. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a question of like, are there phases that just aren't in the Dungeon Journal? Is there a secret? Like, there could be multiple, right? There could be... It could still have a phase that starts at 70 and a phase that starts at 40 that just don't have Dungeon Journal mechanics. Sire to Nathris is a good example of this, where the entire like Mythic last phase was not in the Dungeon Journal. So that could be...
I mean, it was alluded to, though, at least.
Yeah, there was a line that said like something about
something
the mirror.
about the mirror. Yeah, what happens down here.
You never know what you're gonna get or whatever.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
No, I don't know. It's like a Taco Bell order. Never know what you're gonna get. Speaking of that, I'm sort of hungry again. Tuttles, you?
No, I'm not actually. Please, I ate one.
It's 20-pound bowl of meat.
Diamond.
Yeah.
Ooh, two Eyes of Kazan as well. Wait a
Yeah,
second.
that's the trifecta
And the Titan of
there.
Industry as well, that big old shield. This
And a very rare lip smile.
Ooh, and a Wooey item as well for the old Lipperino.
Ooh.
But he's on Ret Paladin.
Yes, so Ret is something that I've been seeing a lot of them playing a lot of Rets, so maybe something that they're thinking is going to be pretty good here, because we saw Dazer on a Ret as well in that previous split. Now, just because somebody's playing something doesn't mean it's necessarily their main, but it does make it pretty likely because the meta has shifted towards playing 12 copies of the same class rather than an alt of each class, which is kind of how it used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
It used to be that you'd see like, oh, THD Lock, THD Mage, THD Death Knight, right? Now it's just 12 THD Locks.
Sometimes as well, though, you know, there are people in the raid. Lip will tend to play a DK or play a Ret Paladin. Last year, he played almost exclusively Death Knight. I don't even know if he had Paladins that were necessarily
probably like
geared.
one or two or something, yeah. But yeah, you can see here, so it looks like he's got, what, 3 Paladins, 3 DKs, and some Shamans on this front page,
Yeah, okay,
3
so
Shamans.
3 enhancement Shamans. So he is more flexible than most
so
other
he's one of the
people.
flexers, whereas there are people that will just have 9 mages, right? Like Fired Up is just going to be 9 mages.
And then you saw some characters that were never getting played at the bottom of that, with like,
Right.
which were like a druid and an evoker.
Yeah, and this is just one account as well. He may have more characters on other accounts as well. That it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only set, or even that all of those are getting played, right? Because a lot of characters got leveled this expansion. Last season, there was so much free time because of that heroic week that they basically just added a bunch of extra characters. Here we can see Atlas is on a DK. He's actually on a blood. Was it blood? Yes. So currently spec blood, although that's probably just for splits. Atlas has been he's been a DPS DK, blood DKing splits for a long time, but he has played blood on a few fights as well when it's been needed. But yeah, DPS DK is something I haven't heard a lot of stuff about this tier, so it may be a case of the old bench.
It's good in Mythic Plus.
Yeah.
The Sand Lane Unholy is one of the highest AoEs in the game, but Unholy runs in this issue where you have to, make sacrifices for single target to play for AoE, but, that's not a problem in Raid. You would play that. Frost seems, again, pretty good in Mythic Plus. Maybe not the best specialization, but pretty good. But I have no idea how it is for Raid either. Raid testing is weird because it's difficult to get a good gauge on how specs are going to perform damage-wise in Mythic Plus, or not in Mythic Plus, in Raid, unless you were doing a lot of the normal testing. And these Race World First guilds do a lot of dummy testing out in like the open world and stuff like that, and they get a bunch of logs trying to figure out who's going to be doing as much damage and like who's doing what, and priority damage versus multi-target cleave and stuff like that.
We tested super early into this PTR as well, and it was
Yes,
very,
we
very
did.
fast. So like on most of the classes, I think we're either bugged, like in a over-benefiting, under-benefiting from tier being bugged, or just not working at all.
Lots of tuning too.
Lots of tuning came in. Yeah, we saw tuning, I believe, not Friday of last week and the week before. Big buffs to a handful of specs, some tier buffs, some tier nerfs. BM Hunter getting some insane buffs, and a potential nerf ended up being a buff, and then 2 more nerfs to compensate for overbuffing them, and they're still pretty good. So
yeah, it's still a net buff compared to what they were last week, the set of changes that happened to them on the reset today. So
I feel like DPS tuning isn't that bad right now, barring a few outliers.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is,
which is weird.
I think there are going to be some, like S-tier specs that might consume all the oxygen in the room, and there's just not enough space left for the pretty good specs. I'm thinking stuff like, again, Shadow Priest, maybe Warrior, maybe Windwalker, maybe Mage, that just kind of make it so you don't have spots for stuff like DPS DKs.
But you also have to bring all the raid buffs anyways. But
yeah,
you have to bring
DK doesn't have
though?
one.
DK doesn't have one, exactly.
Yeah, if you need grip, you just bring a blood DK.
DK
Right.
and Evoker, Aug is dead. So
Evoker doesn't have an important raid buff. The Blessing of the Bronze thing doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Evokers you bring based on, first of all, if they're just good damage, which they might be. I'm not sure. Dev would definitely be the one over Aug, I think. But the other thing you bring Evokers for is if you need time spirals or spatial paradoxes.
You don't need spiral this tier very much, right?
I don't.
feel like.
Looking at the Gallywix fight, that doesn't look like one of those fights. It doesn't remind you of like Razageth or Ansarek, where you have a lot of ground to cover really fast, right? It just looks like sort of a big old circle where you can be where you need to be already. So I don't think that the Evokers are going to be necessary for that. That being said, spatial paradox is very good on actually Disc and Mistweaver. So if the healers really want it, there might be some value in bringing a Evoker or 2 just to spatial them.
Would you ever just tell your healers or your raid to get good rather than bringing a time spiral and a spatial?
I just tell them to figure it out. But
yeah,
like spatial, if you need to say ramp while you're moving as a Disc Priest, spatial is so good. And for Mistweaver as well, like there's a couple spots in their rotation where they don't mind not having spatial, but if they have to do a lot of healing and be moving, spatial is huge for them as well. All right, so we saw 2 of the quadrants getting lasered off here at the same time, and they're going to be now cornered here.
Yeah, boss is low. I mean, we should be able to beat it before we get to, like, the last tune-up phase in this final phase here, but this is where things become pretty crazy. That tank debuff going out there is going to cause these bigger batter bombs to spawn in, a lot of them as well. And it's going to overlap with the Fire Arc Lions here, standing in the barrier for a bit. Look at the barrier. The whole barrier is just consumed by the actual bombs. You are able to dodge there, though, and besides that, you just have the triple, like, black blood soaks in the back of the room. I think they're called TikTok bombs, actually, like, legitimately. And just sort of alternates between this. Then when he does one more cycle, I believe it goes back into that tune-up phase, which we won't see here, but you can see how little room there is if you mess up these pylons, or if you just get this far and have no room left on the fight on Heroic or Mythic. It's going to be really tight.
Yeah, again, you can see those rockets being shot out from players.
A lot of players dying right there.
Yeah,
I think they're still going to be able to limp over the edge.
No, because he's going to phase here.
Boss is at 1%.
Okay, here come the Giga Coils. And that last one now is going to explode, so the room is all electrified. You can see the Raid's health getting ticked down pretty aggressively here. But it looks like they should be able to get over the finish line here. Last of the bomb soaks.
Big Link comes down. All right, there
nice
we go.
work. That was close.
See, that's what I hope the Mythic and Rage is like right there.
Yeah, there is
something of those sorts.
Again, those Omni tokens at least are nice. This tier has an interesting thing as well, where when you get either AOTC, Keystone Master, or like 1600 in PvP, instead of getting an Omni token, you now get a Catalyst charge, which is a very different thing. It's actually not very different, but it's slightly different. And for some people, it's going to be a lot worse, right? Because you don't get a free piece of gear. But for some people, it's going to be a lot better because maybe you can use that Catalyst charge on a Myth piece instead of a Hero piece.
It's a lot worse for me because I'm not raiding.
Well, yeah, but you'll have Hero pieces from M+ that you can just chuck in the Catalyst.
Keystone
Same,
Master,
right?
But
those pieces didn't start at Hero 1 out of 6, right? They started at like Hero 3 out
Well, yeah,
of
but you can still get Hero 3 from M+. In fact, you can get Hero 3 from M+ this year. You couldn't last year. Last year, you could only get Hero 2.
Isn't that
so
bad?
basically, it'll
probably isn't.
Yeah, in some cases, it'll be more annoying. In particular, if it's like, oh man, I don't have something to catalyze. Now you got to go farm it to actually put in the catalyzer. But if you do have access to Myth Track pieces, you know, if you're somebody in Liquid, for instance, you can get 2 Myth Track pieces this week.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to catalyze both of them, which could be very big.
It's a minor difference no matter what. Like,
Yeah,
no matter
in
how you
most
slice
cases, it'll be pretty similar. But I would describe it as like a quality of life nerf, but a slight power buff if you're a Giga min-maxer.
Yeah, there's also, you know, it's going to be a little bit more time inefficient. You called it a quality of life nerf.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do more content.
You have to
get
actually
that
get the piece to put in the catalyst.
Like the pieces of loot in the raid, like the helms, shoulders, and chests that dropped off like.
There are early bosses that drop, good Myth Track pieces. So
yeah, they're actually of use now in a sense, right? 'Cause that was a problem last year. Everything would drop, and they'd be like, "Oh, who wants this for free eye level upgrades?" Basically on your tier.
Yeah.
Like no one wanted it for anything because you play tier in that slot
Well,
instead.
in the past, I mean, those pieces would just get DE'd, but the fact that you now have the item upgrade system and the catalyst
That's what I'm
means
saying,
that those pieces aren't actually just getting disenchanted like they would in the previous expansions.
Yeah, this tier has some interesting changes as well. That sort of seems like they're trying to make sure that the end boss gear is good again. Because something that sort of happened in previous tiers is because of the upgrade system, early boss loot upgrades the same eye level as late boss loot. So, you know, if it's like, oh, I want a 2-handed sword, do you want the one from the first boss or the last boss? Well, which one has better stats, right? Was sort of the answer. Now there's actually that Galley Tech limited edition loot from the last 2 bosses that means it's slightly better at the same item level than the early bosses. So you do want to get that if you can.
Would you mind if like the last boss, like Gallywix Heroic, dropped Myth Track? Do you think that would even be a problem?
I think that'd be cool.
Fine, yeah. They've never made the Galley Tech any kind of like fire act weapon for casters. It's amazing. I've never been able to wear one. Still can't wear one.
There was the Rygalon dagger.
It didn't count though. They said it was supposed to be like the
Queen of Shara staff.
That was
Queen of Shara staff.
So now we're just lying.
There was the there was the Int sword off of N'Zoth.
That was the Carapace of N'Zoth.
Oh, what was that called?
Gosh, it was the Infinite Stars one.
Yeah,
it always had Infinite Stars on it. Yeah.
Which you wanted to cleanse and then put something else on it.
Yeah, I remember you did
What was the
that.
highest item level in the game?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
That was before the item upgrade system. So
the claim of nothing is very narrow. I feel like he might have made that up.
Well, I mean, like in more recent stuff, like because I mean, what? It was like a 10k DPS gain over a regular weapon on Fire Act.
Was Rygalon not near?
No.
Yeah, the Shadow Flame suffused items off of Fire Act.
Listen. I don't. You know what? Sure. But everybody could use that dagger.
What is chat saying?
Chat says you're stupid. That's what they're saying.
They're saying you're coping?
You don't have chat open.
One in chat if Kalamazi's coping right now. One. Type 1.
Keep in mind.
Somebody type 1 for me.
Can Boomkins use daggers?
Yeah.
Shadowbreak use daggers? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can Boomkins use maces?
Yeah.
Warlocks can.
Well, now they can shadow boost.
They can, can't they?
I don't think so.
Priests can use maces. Yeah, I know they can. Yeah, exactly. Back to my point.
I don't think shadow priests can wear the best in slots, can they?
That's a two-handed mace.
You can use mace. Maces.
So, best in slots is a two-hander. So there are some specs that can wear one-handed maces, but not two-handed. Yeah.
Now we're going deep down the
Anyways.
Now I have no idea. It's like it's kind of like asking what classes can play what specs. Like weapon proficiency is not something that's not in my bag, unfortunately.
Warriors can use them all, except for maybe Warglaives.
It's tough for me too. Don't worry. I play the best fastest game, being the one that rides the bench most. So.
The one that rides the bench. What's the last tier you haven't played a Warlock?
Literally, what are you talking about?
We're not good. Any buffs.
This guy literally. Did you see his one of his most recent YouTube videos?
It was disgusting.
Warlocks need power.
Yeah, we want power infusion. Yeah, great clickbait. It was very good.
Oh yeah, we want power infusion. What's the spec that doesn't want? What's the spec that's gonna be like? You know what? I pass. Thank you. Give it to somebody else.
You know, I woke up. People on Twitter hating me. People on Guild
as they should.
Discord talking about it.
That's right.
You know what it got though?
Clicks.
Clicks.
Yep.
You know it should also get clicks. TL.gg/Coinbase RWF as well. If you want $20 in USDC, use code TeamLiquid to be able to obtain that.
Indeed.
Yeah, code TeamLiquid 20.
For the $20
Wait, what did I say?
You said code TeamLiquid, which
TeamLiquid
you
20,
forgot the
very
20, which is
different.
that's the amount of USDC you get.
Line on the prize. You're doing good.
Yeah.
There you go. Hit the button. Give it to it.
Clicks.
Yeah.
Did they type 1?
You still don't have chat open.
I don't have chat. I couldn't find.
Yeah. Couldn't see it anyways, probably.
I tried to scrolling, but it is on my phone, but he can't see. So.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Travis. I'll pull it.
I didn't realize you had your phone open. No. I
thought you were trolling here.
Hang on, I'm gonna collect channel points for you as well.
Thank you.
Bang, plus 50. You have 49,000 channel points in this channel.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll spend them for you. Hang on.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No, I don't have enough to make ad time happen yet.
Oh.
Wait, there's a channel point reward for ad time?
For 50,000 channel points, there's something that says ad time.
I'm at 49,000.
If you want to avoid the ads, by the way, you can also subscribe and Prime.
I mean, if you think about it, we press this button, the ad gets played, we get money, sort of. If you think,
do not do that.
So we've sort of got this channel points to,
you know what?
Funding our own event
press the
thing
button.
here.
If everybody in chat goes to TLGG/Coinbase RWF, you just send the 20 for a code.
Yeah,
How about that?
You'll not press the ad button?
I will withhold.
Okay, that's
what you guys have to
a trade offer, perhaps.
Yeah.
Good deal.
he did the hand thing. He did the hand thing.
Similar to Dranos with the 5 big boobs, I can't stop myself from doing the hand thing.
I ran an ad.
Wait, they ran an ad?
Yeah, they did.
Dude, what? Our trade offer. We're never.
It was good.
Yeah, we lied. What of it? What are you gonna do? Turn off the stream? Yeah, that's what I thought. Sit back down.
All right. Apparently, we're going to throw it to a Monster Energy listen, and we can hear what the Raiders are up to. Dranos, Kalamazi, and myself are going to be catching a break, and then we will be right back after this Monster Energy listen.
We might take a lot of damage here. Just don't frontal those bombs. Good. Take those bombs, Cinny. Tell me when the one control is done.
It's done.
Good. It's over.
Throw the bombs into the
bombs
middle.
off the edge, guys. Get the bombs off the edge.
Get away from the boss.
Jump 3 times.
Please. Soak again. Great work.
Make sure you trade me any loot.
Yep. We're going heroic on the first characters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You all helpers.
Yep, thank you guys. Great work. Okay, log out in the instance.
They should have all items. No, you don't need to go back in if you TP'd out, it's fine.
Are we all in the same group? No, we're not.
I don't know. Did he post the runs?
Yep, it's in after
just,
meeting for loot on first 2 runs, you'll be starting heroic in different groups.
Okay, yeah, so 5 big booms. Okay.
Let's do loot first.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the 2 heroic groups? It's Jug Juicers and Severed. Okay.
Looks like I think we might have been the last group to finish.
You were.
Remember the group 1 characters that we logged out in mid? Just go into the raid?
Yep.
We have to meet for loot first?
Yeah, it's in our channel, the 5 Big Booms channel.
Okay.
You don't get anything in the second run, so you can just do first and go.
Yeah.
The cartels are always hiring temp workers to pick up odd jobs.
Whisper, Kobo Rizzler.
Yeah. I'm still on loading screen. But no. Must be in a raid group. Boom.
Okay, attempt number 4 logging in.
Has anyone read what Bubba posted about Omni tokens and understand what it means?
Where?
Bro, that shit is like, that is like written in a different language.
Yup. Perfect sense.
Do you get it? God damn.
Dude, the number next to Smack's name is crazy. I don't know why it got rid of an item.
Okay. Try again.
Try do again. There we go.
Okay.
I'm coming in, I just had a long time on.
Yep. One more trademark.
What guide are you on, Toba? I just...
Wristlet. Double wristler. Lots of trades for you, Smack. City. City done. Boom. Should be good.
There was nothing for me. I said I should come.
There's 2, you can't see? Oh, the trade window?
Sorry.
I'll retrade. Oh. Okay, logging next guy.
I have a group for the second one.
Okay.
Milo.
On Arc. Pusher, yeah.
Why are you guys running out?
Yeah, you don't have to run out, there's Raidens inside.
Dude, I tried to go in the fucking... I need to...
Ooh, you must be in a raid group. I left. Help.
I'll fix it.
Help. You might be in a different instance when you walk back in. How many items did you get? 6?
Yeah.
Okay. You're done.
Okay.
You're in a different instance, runes?
Oh, you just re-entered, yeah. You have to re-enter.
Yeah, I'll come back in.
Blundered.
All good. Ready now. You see the window?
Yeah.
One more.
Oh.
Thanks.
No problem, bro.
Okay, that's it. Signing up.
If you're a helper and you can hear me, hit no on this ready check. Hit no, hit no, hit no if you can hear me. Hit no.
Yo, I hit ready.
But are you ready?
I'm ready. I want to pull boss.
That's it. No, that's it. No.
More Raider.
We have 14 Raiders. So yeah, we're missing one.
It's Glocka, isn't it? Oh no. Or are you keeping Glocka?
It's...
I don't know.
It's Disco, right?
That is good. Disco.
He's not in his chair.
Not in the chair. No fucking way. Kirby.
Okay. I just got a message that. Oh, hold on. I just got a message that needs to be relayed to you guys. If you do decide to download Coinbase, Hagrid aka Shakib from our guild has earned a minus 30% return on investments for the day. So you can do better than him. Yay.
Make it a competition.
Mm-hmm.
The bad vest.
Who are we
This is
missing in
so
this front?
Wolf Disco. You just got it. Nope, he's coming back.
I told him to come in.
Alright, W.
I had a mailbox from someone.
Oh, who's gonna get fucking run over?
Argon's carded.
It's fine. Battle
Wait,
res.
that was only our guild that died. There was like 6 people. It was only us.
I tanked that shit because of 90% monk BR. Holy.
Alright, for the helpers, the only change on heroic compared to normal is you're gonna get oil drops. You're just gonna take them towards star and towards orange away from the raid. And then there's gonna be a fire thing that like faces random people. Those people just go run over the oil and clean it up with it. And that's it.
Hello?
Yep. Let's go. Yo.
Welcome, Undone.
I see some pings.
Yeah, log in.
Hurry up, man.
Where was this group even posted?
Toucan Disco. What's announcements?
Space announcements.
Boom, invite. Boom, summon. Alright, going soon. We're saving loss for the first burn. Don't send 2 minutes until the burn as well. You can send 130s though. Putting a timer?
No tanking?
Nah.
No.
Let's have a chill.
Hold on. Not going.
No
Neil,
check on.
Yeah, Neil, do you have the weak aura?
Yeah, before you might have just opened it.
Okay, yeah, can you close
Let's
your
close the
weak
weak
aura?
auras.
Okay, perfect. We're going
I trust
on
him.
this timer. Short one.
Holding last or no?
Hold lost, yeah.
Hold.
The one phase or what?
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah, what is this nameplate tech?
Yeah.
You guys see that?
Yeah, I don't like it.
I hate this
He's
a lot.
armored up.
Everybody, everybody be on the green side.
See it somewhere else. It's
Be
there.
on the entrance side of the boss. Take these to Sar and Orange out of the group. Sar and Orange out of the group. Good. Wait, 5 seconds. Somebody's gonna get picked with fire. You guys are gonna take the fire and clean up all this oil that just got dropped. Here it comes. If you get picked, run over. And then we're killing the bikers in 3, 2, 1. Killing the bikers. If you got picked with the fire, make sure you hit the oil. Otherwise, we're gonna get fucked. Perfect. Good job. All right. Kill the bikers.
If you guys ever have to replace anyone, look for people with weak aura in their note. That means they already have it. I'm just telling them all to do that.
W.
Okay, take these out in front of the boss. In front of the boss.
Did
In
we
front of
miss?
the boss. Not behind.
Did we miss a bike?
Yeah.
4 plates.
Yeah, it's still 4 plates. Kill the bikers now. People who get the fire, please run over the oil. Like all the oil.
Want to
especially
move
in
it,
the middle of
Yips,
the room.
or this is fine?
We can probably go to
Chill.
the other side after this if we
It'll be
want.
chill. Don't be in the way of the bikes. It's because the boss is in the oil, maybe, that they missed. Landing. Okay, we need one more.
Bike.
Yeah, one more bike. Okay, these oils, I want you to take them out towards those pings. And then you guys are blowing up these bikes right now, real quick. If you get the fire, make sure to clear the room. Blow up the bikes, and then we're gonna get ready to bang the boss soon. I'm gonna send the bike in. 3, 2, 1, sending. Send lost.
Lost.
Alright, dodge the floor, and make sure we get CCs on the mechanics that come in. X and AoE stuns. Okay, kicks and stuns.
Man, Unholy DK looks really strong.
Yeah.
They have
You
some
guys,
bikes,
are
man.
playing it, you guys are playing it bad.
Have a bike diff?
No, that's all Natty, I think. It's a new patch. Got this new ability.
Chinese build.
Works in the master, I think.
Yeah. Alright, this room is covered with absolute shit. Can we move?
Yeah, go to the other side.
Everybody, we're just gonna
We
slide
have
on.
spare here, right, as well. It'll be fine.
That works too, actually. Just keep it here. Okay, star and orange with the oil drops, that comes first. And then whoever gets the fire, I want you guys to run completely forward and just clear all the shit. Fire coming soon. In 8 seconds. Okay. If you get targeted by this, please run forward and clear all the oil in front of us. Fire's coming in 3 seconds. We're killing the bikes. Okay, if you get targeted by fire, run forwards. If you get oil, move up.
Go back to the original spot.
Oh, that hit. Yeah. W.
On again, I bubble up.
That one didn't.
That bike fizzled. Yeah, it's because of the oil.
It's like a pull stick, just fucking.
Can
Is it
you
immune?
pull-
Okay.
Yeah, just pull the boss towards the bikes so that's on oil, and then we'll chill.
Yeah.
Very clear here.
That's really good. Very good. Move the oil towards the middle of the room, not on top of us. W.
That works too.
One more bike. We're just gonna go towards the entrance.
Single target
Jang-
one of these bikes.
Yeah, Jangwar rally. And try to clear if you can. Get the oil away from us. And hit boss. Sticks. And we're going to Sticks right after this.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir, sir, yes.
Little boss.
Get that little boss. Boom. Boom.
Trading at PhD.
Gonna loot all your runes. Alright, follow skull. Everybody mount up. Watch both sides of the road before you cross every single time.
I'm racing him.
Who's holding, by the way?
Why are you on that shit Mount Atlas?
Impact is holding.
It's just nicer for helpers sometimes.
What the fuck? I died in the car. You just ran right into it. Yeah, but you can die in the car?
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah, with some of them.
Let's talk about it.
With that?
You just got in the car crash. Let's talk about it. They just have a nicer car than you, man.
I lost.
Yeah, DC.
We don't have everything yet. Hold on.
Dude.
Not left.
Welcome back from that Monster Energy listen-in. We are back on the couch, and I am joined by Dratnos and Kalamazi. I am Tettles, of course, and we have been witnessing the first entrance into some of the heroic splits that we've been seeing. Why did they bail on normal so early, Dratnos?
Yeah, so I mean, heroic has the better gear, so it sort of makes sense to do heroics, right? Like they're going to want to do a lot of heroics, and they're going to want to do as few normals as they can get away with, right? But at the start of the day, you don't have a lot of experience with the raid. None of the helpers have any experience with the raid. You kind of don't know where tuning's at. And also, there's a lot of power that you can pick up just even on some alts to make heroic easier from those first few normal runs. So I think that's why they started with normal for a couple runs.
Too, yeah.
You know, with lower chance of failure, lower chance of wiping. And now they kind of have an idea from other guilds of what the heroic tuning is like, how many helpers they think they can get away with, so how many splits they can run simultaneously. Because heroic splits are going to be the main thing that happens for the next couple of days, right? We've got a lot of characters. Each person in Liquid has probably done 3 or 4 normal splits across their account. We're probably looking at maybe 10, 15 heroics, something like that, per person, which the more they can have that split, right, the more they can do that in 4 splits rather than 3, the more loot they're going to get as well.
While we were on break, we actually got a second to kind of look at some of the other guilds that were progressing heroic. What were the things that you were seeing, Kalamazi?
I mean, all I heard was somebody hit one-arm bandit, pulled it a few times on heroic, and we're just like, yeah, we're not going to do this anymore. So I mean,
on heroic,
yeah, on heroics. I mean,
that's a full guild group, of course. Not, I think there's melee mechanics, right?
It was melee mechanics.
They killed Vexy Mythic, right? And then they went into heroic, and they hit the wall at one-armed bandit heroic. Now, of course, there's a lot of gear that you can pick up kind of easily over the next couple of days. One thing that we often do see Liquid do is once somebody knows what their main is, they'll start sending things on their alts, right? Like you start sending your spark on your alts so you can make your alt stronger to make the split easier as well.
Yeah.
But it is a big question mark is how many helpers can we get through these bosses? Heroic Vexy, at least, doesn't look that much harder than the normal encounters. It took a long time, though. Yeah, that was like a 4-minute...
4.5 minute kill, yeah.
4.5 minute fight, something like that, right? So it is, you know, I think they're probably not going to be able to sustain this many split groups. It looks like we're down to actually 2 split groups total right now.
Okay, what do you reckon Styx Bunk Junker is going to look like on heroic in splits in particular?
Yeah, I don't think this fight's going to be that much nastier on heroic. I mean, I guess the challenge is going to be if helpers get assigned to do the bomb rolling. That could be potentially something that goes
wrong. That's what I'm
wrong.
concerned about, right?
Yeah, it looks like they're mounting up and potentially considering going somewhere other than Styx Bunk
Seeing the boss's health and decided to roll out, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Atlas is not driving a car. He's just on a mount as well.
Mount gang. I'm so down for this. Yes, forget the car, mount gang.
Everybody else is leaving him in the dust here.
That's fine. I'm not crashing into the buildings. This is perfect.
Slow and steady may win the race here, but yeah, this is something that's going to take him a little while here, perhaps. But yeah, it looks like they're heading over maybe towards Cauldron of Carnage.
I feel like Cauldron will be the next go-to here, probably. It didn't seem like it was really that much of a step up.
A little bit of trash pull.
Testing at all.
Oopsie.
Yeah, this could be a little death run action possibly here as well. But, I mean, so at the same time, we're going to be running a lot of heroic splits, like Brett mentioned here too. But there's also a bit of that behind-the-scenes element of you are trying to formulate what comp you think you might want to be playing on later bosses on Mythic to sort of prioritize with gear. We saw that Jasper Diamond drop off of Gallywix, and where does it go? Does it go to like THG on maybe his main here? We're not even sure who's maining what, but is your comp more execute heavy for one-arm bandit, Mugsy, and Gallywix? You're looking for more of a cleave comp. So now that we're in heroic, that's taken more into account here as well. But
I think with 30+ players on your roster and almost limitless comps, though, you can kind of flex into anything if you need it. So I think you just look on trying to make sure that everybody has that character prioritized, and I think that a lot of the research into what comp you're potentially going to be playing was done in advance, and then you allocated the correct people on the correct specializations or correct classes.
We've seen them also go back in previous tiers, like getting somebody gearing on a character they hadn't played.
That's fair.
Most of that raid tier, so I guess there's multiple avenues of approaching that, but let's see. 5 splits at once is impressive, though, to be fair.
Yeah, that was a normal, right? Now we're down to, we think, 2 of Heroic, which makes more sense for Heroic, right? Heroic, day 1, we're talking about everybody being in effectively, if you're full Mythic gear from last tier, you're in LFR gear from this tier. So doing Heroic, you are substantially under the item level that Heroic drops, even before those upgrades get applied to it. So even being able to split this at all with helpers is going to be great. As many bosses as they can, they'd like to do that. I mean, because the thing is, there's always this tension between, well, if we could run 3 groups instead of 2, we'd get 50% more loot, right? But then if we're ever wiping, if we're taking longer, if there are bosses we can't kill, we're losing time. So there's always that kind of potential versus an actual reality trade-off.
Well, while the Raiders are looking for loot, if you're also looking for loot in the form of apparel, you can join TL.gg/RWF and be able to buy some apparel there.
Yeah, check it out. There's some pretty sick apparel.
That jersey's fire that Atlas is wearing.
It is. Yeah, the jersey's fire. A lot of the apparel this tier is really sick, too.
They put Cauldron of Carnage on a bunch of this stuff,
They did.
too.
I had the
and
King of Trade shirt on.
That is so sick. I am a big fan. You can even see the mouse mat that's got Cauldron of Carnage on it.
I actually have that. It's very, very cool.
You want to trade?
Are those swim trunks as well?
I think they are. I'm pretty sure they are.
That goes crazy, yeah.
They are. I wear those as regular pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, the store. Let's go.
Average Florida moment, right?
I mean, yeah. Next time a hurricane rolls in, you're just you're out there, you're prepped for it.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Top tier. Top tier.
Yeah.
Was it last year that you flew home into the hurricane?
There were 2 hurricanes last year.
I think I flew home right before the hurricane got there. Yeah.
Well, it was right after one, and it was right before the other one.
Yes, I think that was it. Yeah, because I mean, I don't want to be. I gotta be there.
Yeah.
There's looting and things. You gotta protect.
Gotta protect your potted plants.
Yeah, that's true. I have 18 now. They split off into others.
Wait, what?
I have 18.
They
plants
mitosis.
in the patio. Yeah.
Wow.
Started getting real big. I took a serrated bread knife and cut them up and put them in other pots. And I have 18.
Kind of like jailer soaks.
Yeah, they're just expanding.
It's like that famous. I don't know if you guys know the famous guild interview question about debuff that. It's like a debuff that kills somebody and splits in half.
Yeah.
Splits to 2 more people, and how long do you have before your raid wipes? Actually, pretty similar to the Jailer P4 mechanic. Yeah.
Dude, I haven't thought about that in so long. So they're just killing more treasure. Are we back at Styx?
This is.
It is Styx again.
Maybe.
I think this might be a different split though. Where's Atlas?
Oh yeah, this could be. I don't see Atlas in this split.
But they are this split. The Jug Juicers are at Styx Bunk Junker for sure.
Yeah, that does look like 6 Bunk Junker for them. We've got Nick here on a Prez Evoker.
The question is how difficult is Styx going to be with a bit of helpers in here? Or what is the ratio of helpers to actual raiders here as well? Do we know? Or we're not sure.
Nick just he took 3 big gulps out of that monster there. That was crazy.
Yeah, quick juice up, why not?
Yeah.
Popping him has been
that's
called.
why they're called the Jug Juicers.
Yeah, there we go. Quick little juice break. There you go.
Okay.
Here we go.
4.
All right, boss getting pulled here. It is going to be Styx Bunk Junker Heroic for the Jug Juicers.
Yeah, big difference here on Styx is you have these territorial bombshells that are going to be active on Heroic and higher, which you can't really kill with the rolling ball of garbage until they reach 75% health and the shield is removed, correct?
Yeah, they spawn clamped onto a garbage pile, and you need to damage them enough that they detach from it, and then you cleave them down. You don't want to roll into them. If you roll into them, you'll explode, you'll lose your bomb, and you'll create more fire garbage, which it's not a one-shot or anything like that, but it is bad, so they're hoping to break those all out. There you can see that big bomb as well that they need to roll into with a big pile of garbage before it explodes. And also rolling into the boss whenever possible is great. You can see they have ignited a little bit of the ground here. We've got a couple of burning trash piles.
And there's 1 large tank bomb per set. You have to roll into, correct? Is that?
Yes. So I also had a conversation with THD. In the final phase of this fight, you actually get 2 of the tank bombs.
Yeah.
And he was expressing concern that if it's not one of the liquid raiders that ends up getting the ball that has to run into that bomb, it could potentially be a problem because, you know, the tank is always assigned one, so they can be able to run into it. Are you worried about the final phase here with that junk rolling? Now, it seems like Liquid has all of their helpers, at least in Discord and as well, and they're attentively listening. But, like, is this something that you would be concerned about, Dratnus?
Yeah, I think absolutely. It's something where that's part of the reason, right? You definitely want all of your helpers in Discord, and it's one of the big advantages that Liquid has is that the helpers are actually, they got a lot of really good helpers. So big thank you to everybody who's helping out, especially with Heroic here, because it's actually pretty skill intensive. Being a helper in one of these split runs on day one is you have to do a lot of these mechanics. There's just no avoiding it. If you get targeted by that bomb, only basically one person can screw up that bomb before you start running out of them in P2.
Right, you're not getting gear either. You're basically, I mean, for the most part, you're like in LFR gear.
You're getting a bunch of crests. Right? You're getting you're getting vault slots. You're getting gold. So it is a good deal if you're not, if you're not raiding today, for instance. I think it's
right. I mean,
a great
point
place
being,
to be,
like week 1 gearing here, that was very, very challenging compared to like week 2 or 3 re-clear, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like when we come back next week, they could probably do like 5 splits instead of 2 of this.
What eye level do you think that you're kind of looking to expect coming out of splits? Like 660 something?
Something like that, yeah.
Do you craft? Do you spend crests? What do you do?
So interestingly, this time around, you're only going to have 1 spark available to you this week. You don't get your second until week 3 of Mythic.
Do you craft a main hand?
Maybe.
Which loot?
Maybe. So if you craft a main hand, then you could craft like you could make, I think, a like 650 socketed PvP belt or bracers if you run a battleground. So that might be the vibe.
Crafting, interestingly enough, is only 60 of your crests, 60 of your 90 weekly crests.
It's how it was back in Dragonflight, yeah. Only the War Within Season 1 had those nerfed costs on it, like buffed costs, right? More expensive.
Yeah.
What is our cap for Heroic and Mythic crests this week? 90 or 180?
90.
90? Has anybody looked at it?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Last season, we thought it'd be 90 when
right, but we actually had 180.
But it was 180.
I need
chat.
Yeah, chat.
What is the cap on Gilded Crests?
It's 180.
180.
Someone said 180 and someone says 90. Okay. What is it? Don't lie to me. Come on.
Chat. Pop open if you've got any of those crests. I guess you'd have to have a ruined crest or
tab in and type right
crest.
now.
90.
Somebody says 90?
Yeah, someone's saying 90.
Okay.
So
chat knows saying 90? Yeah, so
season 1 you had 180 this week.
Yeah. Because Heroic Week was when it started going up, but this time around I think that makes more sense as well, but it does mean that if you want to craft a piece with Gilded, that's going to cost you 60 of your 90, which I think is probably worth, but it is pricey.
You're supposed to craft on CD with the changes to cost, just in terms of crest efficiency, because last patch it was a little bit weird where you didn't want to craft very many pieces.
The thing is, though, if you only have 90 and say you want to upgrade like an Eye of Kazan Heroic that gets dropped for you or something like that, right? Like you want to upgrade some really high value pieces from the raid that drop. You can only do 2 upgrades before you then are out of upgrades.
But if you get something from Mythic,
if you get something from Mythic and you want to upgrade it, for instance, like say you got a Mythic weapon from an early boss and you want to throw some upgrades at it, then you wouldn't be able to craft with an enchanted Mythic crest.
Yeah.
This boss's health is real.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why you can really feel that it's heroic, not normal now. This boss is living so much longer.
We were sitting here before we came back from the Monster Energy listen, and we were like, wait, are they in heroic? And then we couldn't really tell, and then they started raid leading like it was very much
exactly,
heroic.
Yeah, they were talking about optimizing damage cooldowns on Vexy, and I was like, okay, this wouldn't be that important on normal.
Exactly.
I think we're about 5 minutes into this poll. The boss is at 40%. This is like an 8-minute boss, and this boss ramps in difficulty as well, like with more and more ads spawning, I believe, later on in the fight.
When is the final?
After the
spawn?
cast, right? After it goes into P2, it starts spawning more ads.
What's that, Tittles?
When does it start, the final phase?
Yeah, I think it's like 90 seconds in on Heroic and like 45 on Mythic.
It's just like, it phases and like ramps. Like, you're flying in the air, this large like blue drop-down circle.
But that only happens, like it only increases the spawns of stuff once, I think.
Oh, gotcha.
After the first time it does it, I think.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
That might be accurate, okay.
Does definitely look like there are a lot of ads out here.
Is that bomb going to get soaked? I mean,
yeah, there's plenty of time for it. So you can see there are indeed 2 bombs.
Yep.
One of them gets rolled into, the other one gets rolled into, and then the last person with the garbage gets to roll right into the boss. Bang! Rolling into the boss does a bunch of damage as well.
It also spawns the ads very close to the boss. You really don't want them to be too far away.
So yeah, basically any ad you roll over, you pick up, and then you deposit it when you stop rolling your garbage. So getting them under the boss is great because they do take double damage for a few seconds after they come out.
That's why a couple specs looked really, really good on this fight during raid testing, and I'm kind of interested in seeing if they're going to be as good during...
Like Arcane, for instance, can be really sick if you get all the ads nice and and stacked.
Turn this into the meat grinder style fight as opposed to the spread cleave fight.
This is one of the few that they could definitely do this on for sure.
Yeah, if you don't successfully pick up all the ads, then something like Moonkin could be really great, just starfalling all of them even when they're far away.
Shadow Priest Aflock as well.
Yep. On Mythic, you actually get these ads that you have to pick up as well. They like start channeling a laser on somebody, and if they finish, they one-shot them.
Yeah.
And they're like medium size as well, so you can't pick them up immediately. You have to roll over enough trash to become medium sized first. Because that's the way it works, right? You start off as a small ball, you roll over 3 or 4 things, you become a medium ball, and then you can roll over the medium trash and the medium ads. And then once you get super big, you can actually blow up the bombs that need to blow up.
Right.
Boss pretty low here.
Yeah, you can see 7 stacks of that burning garbage, 8 now.
Ooh.
They have a lot of that burning garbage around, but it doesn't actually look that deadly on the raid frames. So that
I'm
was
surprised.
some
Yeah,
healing ramp
that's
coming
what I was
out.
afraid of this fight going so long, just so many burning piles of trash. But
Yeah, I mean, they're
actually
almost
not
7 minutes
bad.
in now.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look that bad, even with an 8 stack or a 7 stacker here. Oh, I guess there's 7 garbage is active, and there's some burning garbage that is not showing a debuff. But it is definitely out there and burning.
It looks like there's 7 healing this. Oh, no,
that makes sense. Yeah, you play a lot. Overhealing heroic makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, bolt. They hit the bomb in the back right there? Yeah, they cleared. Okay, they cleared it. We're good.
All right.
Oh, boss dead.
Yep, boss should die here. Link comes down to that breath at the end of the fight. Very impactful there. There we go.
Yips on a prop paladin. Not giving us too much information, though, because tanks do tend to gear multiple different options.
I think Yips and Scott, like, you know, we were kind of talking about, you know, making one of the same class like 15, 16, 17, 18 times for some of these DPS players and healers. Tanks, I think,
tend to at least have one of everything, and then they may still stack a couple of whatever they're most sure about playing.
But that we're talking about stacking in terms of, okay, they might make like 10.
Yeah, even like 5 or something.
Exactly.
Looking at his damage there. Garbage dump, a big source of your damage on this fight, does show up on details. It is when you roll into the boss with a bomb.
How long until the bikers from the first boss as well stop showing up on details? What do you think?
I wouldn't be surprised that gets removed at some point.
Chat, if you're trying to do this boss and you want to look impressive on the damage meter, if you actually get in the bike on Vexy, the first boss of the raid, and you shoot the bike into the boss, it does insane damage on the damage meter.
Yeah. All right, so looks like this group, the Jug Juicers, is now 2 out of 8 heroic, having killed Styx second. The other group as well, I could see, are working on Cauldron of Carnage. I'm not sure if they already got Styx Bunk Junker down. It does look like the Juicers are going to the Cauldron second. The other group is also just at the start of Cauldron of Carnage, so yeah, this is going to be boss number 3 for the Jug Juicers.
The mythic mechanic of this is the teddy bears that you have to knock into one another, right?
That's mythic, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
It's
basically,
the dinosaur monkey.
they're like little versions of each side. So you'll get little dinosaurs on the dinosaur side, little gorillas on the gorilla side, and you need to kick them towards the middle so that they'll run into each other. And each time they do, you get a stacking debuff. If you don't do all of them, they all will explode when the bosses clash, and that will wipe you if there's more than a stack or 2.
Yeah, so the main mechanics on this fight are then just going to be you're gonna have to swap sides periodically, basically after
every clash. You go to the opposite side.
Exactly,
yeah.
and then on the dinosaur side, you see here this big bomb that has to be soaked. That's important, but also you can't hit the bomb with the frontal from the boss, otherwise you're going to end up blowing up the bomb and wiping. On the gorilla side, it has a bar that's above your screen, and if you move too much, you end up getting stunned.
Yeah. That's what makes multi-dotting really hard in this fight, too. If you're on the fire side, you're constantly soaking the fire bombs, or you get a fire spread on you. If you're lightning, you can't move as much either.
I don't think you can multi-dot.
You can, but I don't see a point to, honestly, either in this fight. I think
Yeah, you can maybe squeeze a little bit of value out, but they are pretty
Yeah.
far apart. They have to be like 70+ yards away.
Right. You stack opposite side debuffs on you the longer you're on that side, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
But you could maybe, greed a little bit if you time it right. Because, yeah, basically each time, every second, or as you're standing on one side or the other, you are gaining stacks of a damage thing. That's what's forcing you to swap after every clash is resetting that.
Yeah. So the problem is, like, if you dual the multi-dot and you get 1 stack of the fire effect, you can have a chance of spawning a fire effect on the lightning side.
During Mythic testing as well, whenever the ads that you see tethered to people were CC'd with like a hard CC, I think they exploded immediately, but it looks like that's no longer the case.
I think that's not true on the lower difficulties, yeah.
Oh, was that a Mythic only thing?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Because they explode and they leave behind that ground effect, whereas here, if they expire, they don't leave behind the ground effect.
Where did this ground effect come from then?
Yeah, so that's the ads. If the ads reach their target, they leave that ground effect behind. And on Mythic, if they get CC'd or expire,
it's
they also
permanent.
leave it behind.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Block off meters here. Oh.
Yeah, Aflock pumping. He is probably getting some value out of doing some greedy multi-dotting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to get a little bit of that. Although
There's somebody dancing in the middle
looks
right
like
there.
he's
Who
just
is
over on
that?
blue side, so
Yeah.
yeah. I guess if you just get good CDs when they're both in range here, that can also be really nice.
He's probably getting power infusion too. I saw this in the Kalamazoo YouTube video.
That's
We
true.
do want
They do want power infusion.
as well as some permanent dots, which are both in effect in this fight. Very exciting times.
Yeah, we can see a little bit of information about maybe some of the kind of comp stuff. At least we can see that we've got Dryny on a Holy Pally, we've got Trill on a Windwalker.
Firewing on top here, actually.
Yeah, KSP playing a Rogue, and Lip's Shaman is in this run, although we of course know that Lip has multiple different characters of different classes that he's prepping.
Oh, a Kingfly on a Dosu not
dead on
Ho.
this
Yeah,
run.
I don't know what happened there exactly. If it was the clash that took them out there, I'm not really sure. We have staggered through this boss for a long time with people being dead, but with this boss having a lot of health on Heroic, it might just be a go-again angle.
Yeah, still 28% here on this boss, and
It's gonna snowball with these fire soaks.
yeah, things do get nasty here. There's a lot of damage in this, and they have a lot of people dead. So, but it is mostly Liquid Raiders, of course, that are still alive. So
These are
hopefully
gonna hurt,
they
though.
can survive.
Can
You do need
immune
to kill
soak
the
this
two bosses
anymore?
within a few seconds of each other as well. It does. Once you kill one, the other will start getting nastier.
Can you solo immune soak that bomb anymore?
I think you need to put 4 people in it.
I think you used to be able to.
Yeah, during PTR, during all of PTR testing, you could.
Yeah, exactly. I remember doing that during PTR. I didn't know if they changed exactly how that mechanic was functioning.
All right, so this beam, you want to make sure you're not aiming it. So one problem with aiming it like this is it's going to hit some people over on the lightning side if they don't dodge.
Which can't move. Just
Yeah, I mean, the static charge is a lot more forgiving. During PTR testing, it was really unforgiving. It is a lot more forgiving than it was during testing, so you can move quite a bit.
They might actually be able to stagger through here. The bosses are 18%. We have big lead coming up here as well, though.
Yeah.
If they can make it through, this might actually be a kill.
I love this THD WeakCore that you see on like the top left-hand side of the screen, where it's telling him how much damage per 2 seconds he's actually taking from each side of the dots from each side.
Actually, it's pretty nice. All right, if we can make it through this, we should actually be okay here. Bosses are about. It's a bit of a disparity here. Torque's at 17 and Florendo's at 12. Like Tritos mentioned, they do enrage if the other one dies. Like,
Yeah.
when one
How bad's
dies,
the
the other one
enrage?
will enrage.
It's not that bad, right? It ramps up, so it's okay if you get like 5 or 10 seconds. I think as you get much longer than that, things are going to start getting sketchy. But you can see a Gateway is coming down here from THD. He's getting ready to go and equalize if need be. I think even though Torque is a little higher, they have more damage on this side. So it's actually going to be Torque that's in danger of dying first. Torque is now lower than Florendo. This is going to be a photo finish, though, as they have been having more and more players bleeding out. THD actually going to Gateway over now.
Multi-dot.
Maybe a quick little multi-dot, yeah. You can see Florendo picked up the Wither, or the Agony, rather.
Yeah, both should be dying. You're going to have Florendo living for a bit longer here, but that's going to empower those actual bombs, I believe, as well, if that actually ends up ticking through.
Yeah, we are going to get the next clash here in a little bit. They still got some time before then. I wonder what would happen if there was a clash when one of them is dead. Looks like they've kind of just stopped damage on Torque.
Yeah.
THD is
the
now
bomb
focusing
soak first
Florendo.
here.
Although he does have stacks now.
here's the clash.
Yeah, here comes that clash. Bang! And this should be very easy now. The clash is going to end as soon as one dies. Torque's starting to enrage, but they have enough damage to finish it. Cauldron of Carnage goes down. Severed Splits picks up another boss. And not too relevant loot off of these early bosses. There is tier off of several of the bosses. But beyond that, I think Cauldron of Carnage has some of the least exciting loot in the raid.
We got a Zenith and a Dreadful piece, it looks like.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, the other stuff you're looking for off of Cauldron of Carnage, there's a Crit Haste ring, very heavy crit ring. Doesn't look like that's dropped here.
I don't believe so.
That Tournament Dark is a bow, so that's going to go to Dosu's Hunter there, it looks like. And then there are a couple of... So there's the Pilot Light and the Big Red Button. And it does look like we did have the Big Red Button drop there. That is a Strength Trinket. It's Mastery all the time. And it has a 2-minute on use that gives you 15 seconds of a bunch of Strength. So potentially can be quite good for 2-minute Strength users, which is a lot of them.
Is it good stat budget-wise?
I don't know.
Oh.
Nobody tells
sounds
me
cool.
nothing.
Big red button and hit it.
That's fair.
Let's go, yeah.
It's probably better than whatever they've got coming into the season, that's for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if it's BIS.
But there's a lot of melee DPS trinkets from Mythic Plus that are pretty good. So whenever we were talking about the caster trinkets earlier, we were talking about those being really good from raid. I think the melee DPS have a decent amount of Mythic Plus options that are solid.
Fair.
Looks like a death skip is going to be the strat here too. Is this Styx Bunk Junkers?
It is. This is Styx Bunk
Okay,
Junkers.
so Severed Splits ran in a slightly different order than the Jug Juicers, where they went to the Cauldron versus Styx second, respectively, between those teams.
I want to see Reverb. Why are they all afraid of Reverb here?
Reverb makes sense to me as being the hardest of the ones.
I think it is too. Why
at least harder than Cauldron and Styx.
Richard Reverb, of course.
Yeah, Richard Reverberations.
Yeah. That's the full name, just to clarify.
That is.
Richard was his father. He goes by Rick.
What's the difference on Heroic, actually, in Rick Reverb? Do you know?
No. I only really know the Mythic differences.
Yeah,
the difference between Mythic is that you don't have to have the 2 circles contact
Yeah, the 2 circles have to clap to... And also there's the soak cannon on Mythic.
Yeah. I don't know the difference between normal and heroic.
Normal and heroic, yeah.
Oh, the barrels.
Rick
the barrels aren't present on normal.
Oh, okay.
So the DPS barrels,
so the like fireworks.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
They spawn and you have to kill them quickly. They explode. Hitting them gives you a damage and haste buff, I believe, as well.
The ads that the melee
there's
hate to
Spark
see.
Blast Ignition, the 5 barrels that need to be killed before they explode, and you do get a haste buff when you hit them.
Yeah, which is nice.
A small one, but better than nothing.
On PTR, they weren't totally... They would spawn stacked at times. Sometimes they would spawn in the back of the room.
Yeah, you could sometimes get a far
far-fetched.
spawn, and that felt pretty unlucky. I think they have a little bit less health than they maybe did in testing.
This, during testing, was like a fight that Destruction, Warlock, Moonkin, Shadow Priest all looked very good on because of how spread some of those ads could be.
Yeah,
because, like you said, it's just not consistent. If it was more consistent, then the melee DPS would maybe be a little bit better. You'd have potentially better melee options. But it looked really good during PTR testing for those range specializations.
Yeah, we harped a lot on a spread cleave profile this tier, which does indeed seem pretty important and like relevant early on here, like Cauldron Carnage on Reverb. But the later we go, I mean, you see some on One-Arm Bandit, but then Mugsy
single target
not
mostly.
as much. I mean, some cleave in certain
Yeah, there are
parts,
the 2
like
ads
with
on on one of the sides, and on the actually both sides. Oh, but some of them you can't hit.
You know, it's
Right.
mostly single target.
And then Gallywix, you have some cleave, but it's a lot of like...
I think that looks like melee meat grinder cleave rather than range spread cleave.
Those are. I feel like that's the cleave where you don't talent into the cleave. You just have cleave. From
yeah,
the
exactly. Like
specializations.
some people are incidentally able to cleave that, like your Havoc Demon Hunters or whatever.
Most specs in the game can incidentally.
The
cleave
disparity in
these days,
class
too.
design, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so Styx Bung Chunker getting pulled by the Severed Splits now. Meanwhile, I can report in that the Jug Juicers are clearing some trash, so hopefully that means they were able to get Cauldron down and maybe are moving towards Rick Reverb.
Oh my god, Richard.
Might get a chance
Rick
to take a look
himself.
at that.
I don't think it'll be that bad, but we'll see. Oh goodness! So wait, so can you run over those dog packs with the rolling ball of trash?
Yeah,
you can pick up any. You can pick up any.
And then they'll get
mob.
deposited when you explode.
I didn't
your
even
trash.
know that actually. It's interesting. Okay.
I love this weak aura that you see on screen right there from Dryny that was telling him how much longer he had during his duration
Yeah.
and how many more piles he could pick up.
Right.
And so that actually allows him to immediately be able to determine, is he small, is he medium, is he large sized orb.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. Yeah, because on the screen, you have the energy bar.
Exactly.
When you reach before you reach half, you gotta soak the small piles of trash. You get the halfway point, you can soak the medium orbs. When you get to the very end, you can soak the big balls, and you're good to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, or the 1 or 2 that are out there at least.
Yeah,
the
or you can
bombs.
run into the boss and do big
damage. Yeah.
How much damage
exactly.
does it do to the boss?
It does like 1.5% of its health or
a
something.
good
It's
bit.
crazy. Yeah. When you're fully charged up.
That
is something.
pretty
Yeah.
good bit.
Oh damn. The damage from that also, by the way, for those at home watching, shows up on the damage meter. Very important.
Very important indeed. Dryny, it looks like dying to the heroic dog.
my God.
We
When
did
the
get
dogs
bomb there.
attack you, they put a heal of reduction dot on you. Something that hopefully your tanks are able to pick up fully. But yeah, Dryny actually ended up having to go down and soulstone that.
Bringing back Necrotic just for 6 Bunk Junker.
Yeah,
very
pretty much.
exciting
Only
here.
on heroic and higher as well. That specific mechanic.
But you can't escape. All right, this is
Here
going to be
comes
that intermission, right?
Yeah, this is the intermission. After this, we're going to get more spawns of bombs, more spawns of the ads as well.
Boss is landing here. You can hit the boss in the air for full damage here? Or
I think it's 99% reduced damage while
Okay.
it's flying around.
There's also a lot of passive AoE based on the amount of trash that's on the ground. Correct? That's one of the big damage sources on this fight.
Yeah, although again, looking at the actual raid frames, it looks pretty tame, even with a bunch of trash on the ground.
Right.
It's never looked that scary.
I mean, kind of something to be looking forward to for Mythic.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
potentially.
surprised if that does a lot more damage on Mythic. It is a pretty early boss though, so that it might even be a little bit less than we're worried about even on Mythic, just because it is. You know, we're thinking about a boss that's in like sick rand spot in the raid,
Absolutely.
right? Where you're kind of theorizing that it's scary, but then it ends up not being that bad.
Would you ever 5 heal this kind of like Roshanon?
Oh yeah, I think that's absolutely a possibility if the damage check is not there.
That's the question, though. Is the damage check like super hard this boss or not, right? Like both this boss and Richard Reverberations can be really tough in Mythic too. just depending on how tuning is.
Dude, Rick Reaver was nasty on testing, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. It was nasty, it was not a fun fight, and it was tuned pretty tightly.
We had people getting mind controlled a lot.
Yeah, that's true. That was the Mythic
Yeah.
mechanic. I think that might be on the lower difficulties as well, right? There's if you get hit by 2 of the sonic waves.
I think that is the Mythic mechanic.
Okay, and then also there's the sound cannon that charms you if it drops you below 75% health.
Plus, you need to break the shields and the pylons with static charges, which is really annoying too.
Very mechanically intensive 3rd boss or 4th boss on Mythic.
They retested that fight in Mugsy pretty late during testing.
I didn't even do it again.
I didn't either. But
I had enough of that fight.
I think there were also a lot of bugs
So
in
that
testing
makes 3
that I
of
would be
us
surprised if they were fixing.
that didn't do it a second time.
Yeah.
I think it was the 3rd time for me. Yeah. We'll see though. Hey.
Yeah, Styx was actually very buggy during testing, but it looks like those have been resolved during the release here. You could roll over stuff and not actually pick it up. Which was pretty frustrating.
That was annoying.
They have improved a lot of things visually in these fights, though. One-Arm Bandit's a lot better. Richard does look a lot better visually. You can see the actual pylons a bit clearer, but the actual pawn control line telegraph much better. So
all the swirlies this tier are so visually readable.
One of the best
I love
changes
it
in this
so
game.
much. It's so great.
It's so great, yeah.
Although it removes one of the excuses you can have for dying.
Lag.
Yeah, lag is the go-to, of course, the classic.
How you feel about the music this tier, Dratty?
Oh, it's really good, yeah.
Are you gonna play with music on?
I already do.
Okay, you are an actual RPer.
Dude, music on during raid fights is it's sort of like an automatic weakcore on some of the fights as well, because there are some fights where you sort of learn oh, when the music does this, it's this phase. Like Jailer, for instance, it was kind of OP. And Anduin as well. They would shift to different bits in the track, and you got used to it.
Yeah, people don't play with sound. Some people don't.
Yeah.
That's diabolical behavior. What is wrong with you? Like you're just playing in silence. No chance.
Yeah, or listen to your music. I don't know. I mean,
no, dude.
you're missing out on one of the senses that you can have telling you what's going on in the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
If we can maybe swap over to the other split, it does look like we are going to see Rick Reverb.
Oh yeah.
In the Jug Juicers getting pulled. Although we are pretty low here on Styx for the severed split. So okay, here's Rick Reverb.
So
First time seeing this one on
were
Heroic.
Indeed baitable in raid testing. You had the raid stacked behind the boss here. You should see the 2 pylons spawning initially on the raid, which then shift towards the diamond markers.
Your ranged would also be pretty tightly stacked as well to bait the other pylon spawn.
Yeah, it looks like we only got one
Look at the
pylon
bombs
here, or
it's
those
across
2
the room.
stacked?
See, so the spawning is still RNG. One spawns way in the back of the room there, which if it explodes and isn't killed, there's a lot of raid damage coming in.
You can live. Okay, you could live 1 during Mythic testing. I suspect you're able to live 1 during Heroic testing as well.
Probably. Let's not find out, but probably.
Okay, so yeah, the amps, it looks like it's only dropping 1 at a time. Rather on testing, it dropped 2. Even on Heroic here.
Oh, so we have 1 on Star already, yeah. And where's number 2 being baited? Did we see it?
It looks like that got baited on range there in the middle of the room.
Okay.
They were trying to bait it on the world markers, but yeah. So it looks like it's alternating. Oh no, that time the boss dropped 1 as well. So this time it dropped 2 amps.
Dropped 2, yeah.
And those are going to now be, basically, the more of them that are active, the more mechanics are going on.
Spawn
you can see for Fired Up on his raid frames, those amplifiers are gaining energy. If any of them reach full energy, it's bad. You can go and channel on them to drain the energy, but each time you do, you get a stacking vulnerability to the damage from it.
Yeah,
it lasts 45 seconds.
It puts a dot on you too.
Yeah, so the amplifier there, Star, is going to need to... There, it's 100 energy, so now it's going haywire, but you can see they've managed to actually drain it. Second amplifier is going haywire as well, though. And so everybody, you can see actually taking a reasonable amount of damage.
Yeah, this is where it gets tough. You're going to have 4 amplifiers down, all shooting a sonic disc out. While dodging those, you have to also soak this frontal for the split soak there. You have to alternate between the tanks.
But now we're about to go into the intermission where all of the amplifiers, I would describe them as activating. They put the one that you need to be in immediately spawns a circle around it so you kind of know where to go. And then Rick Reverb starts to shoot this wave out, kind of similar to Queen Ansarek-esque, and you get knocked over the wave, and then you have to go to the next amplifier to be able to get knocked over the next wave.
Okay, here we go. Boss shields, 99% damage reduction, and we got to get over to that far one without getting hit by a bunch of these. Here comes that wave, and the amplifier is going to knock us over it, and now we can see the next one we need to get to while we're still dodging these echoes as well. Next amplifier in the AMZ, and out comes the knock. And then the next one, and then they'll probably get 1 more after this, and we'll leave 1 amplifier to go into the next phase. And that's sort of the ramping difficulty increase, is that each phase you carry over 1 extra amplifier.
So not relevant on Heroic, but a very relevant Mythic mechanic is that you see those white waves that keep coming out of the amplifier. Those mind control you on Mythic. On
if you get hit by 2,
yeah, if you get hit by 2, they mind control you on Mythic. If you get hit by them on Heroic, it's just going to be some damage, but it's it's a lot more punishing as a Mythic mechanic just in general.
Very punishing. It was so easy to get hit by 2 of them on Mythic. Every pull we would have people getting MC'd. You can break them out, but it's still not good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not a permanent MC, but it's like 80% of your health, I believe, to be broken out or something. It's a
You
lot.
have to, and it's very scary. Very likely you're going to die if that happens to you. There you can see Resonant Echoes, so that's just a dot. And the way it works on Mythic is if you get hit by another one while you already have that dot, you get MC'd. So it's only like, you have to get hit within a 5-second window. But yeah, and then that cannon that gets shot out is a soak on Mythic. It does split damage, and anybody hit below 75% by it gets MC'd. So you gotta do some soaking of that.
So they got the chain lightning out here. And it looks like they're dropping some more amps.
You're gonna have 2 amps here, so you're gonna have 4, and you're gonna have 5 going in the next phase.
Yeah, they have 2 basically stacked on each other there. That's kind of
that's nice, sketchy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit scary potentially if you have to be close to it, but it's nice that they're just right on top of each other.
That does work.
They are marking the amps as well. I think with a mouse over marker.
Could be a boss mod as well that auto marks it.
Yeah.
I actually like how they, so whenever you're looking at the energy of the amplifier, it's actually attached. The energy is attached to the HP of the amplifier on the boss frames.
Yeah.
This isn't just something that's unique to Goops UI. It's basic.
If you have boss frames, they'll show you the energy. Yeah. You can also get it on nameplates above these if you want.
But yeah, that'll actually, if you're looking to ever progress this fight, that will actually be able to allow you to assess what amp you should be going to look for soak, if any.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those fights where a good interface is half the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goop drains that one. You can see a couple of them are getting pretty high on energy here.
Should be phasing sooner too. So we keep that second one a bit lower here. I think we should be okay, actually.
Probably last wave of pyrotechnics before the intermission.
We need to drain number 2 here. We should be okay on 5 and 6, or 4 and 5, I think.
Yeah, here comes the sound cloud intermission.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, glaring drop.
So how many knocks are here? There's still 4?
It's 4, yeah, so they're going to be left with 2 amplifiers going into the next phase now.
Okay. You can angle out of these as well, similar to Antrek, correct? Face that way.
It knocks you away from the middle of it, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can kind of get knocked in whichever direction you want.
Oh, the whole rig gets cleaved by an amp there.
Well, I mean, that's the downside of having 2 amps stacked together.
The other one's going to be shooting the projectiles while the first one is exploding. So, yeah, there's a little sketchy if you carry that strategy over to Mythic.
Yeah.
Boss now sub 20% though. It should be a fairly simple burn from this point. And this will be 4 out of 8 heroic without any wipes for the Jug Juicers.
Yeah, not too bad.
Definitely good, although we're about to now move in to Sprocketmonger, Lock and Stock, and the One-Armed Bandit, which I think are both going to represent a serious difficulty increase over these first 4.
Sprocketmonger I would describe as a lot of mechanics very, very quickly. Some people will call it maybe mechanic vomit.
Yeah.
There are. I think it's a good boss as well, but
I love it.
Visually, it's a lot to watch.
Sprocketmonger Lock and Stock, one of the things about it is it would be really hard, except there's not a lot of RNG to it. It does basically the same cast sequence every single pull in the same places. So
on heroic.
On Mythic as well, it was doing that.
Well,
there's randomness about which color you're assigned.
Right, yeah.
But it's still a dance, right? It's a dance you can learn.
That's fair.
And that makes the mechanics, even though they look really hard, be a lot less brutal.
Looks like they got a reverb radio and then some tier tokens.
Okay.
On that.
Yeah, for the severed splits.
Yeah, for the Rick reverb.
Right. Yeah, not a huge hit there. I guess the radio, if it's, but I'm not sure if that thing's gonna be good.
Reverb radio is good.
I don't think it's bad.
I don't think it's BIS.
Other than that, Rick Reverb basically doesn't drop anything except for just generic gear and the tier shoulders. There is a very haste-heavy with a little bit of crit necklace that may also be of interest to some.
I think that most casters are probably going to want some variant of like House of Cards and Aya Kazan, right?
Yeah, I think that again, the thing is, everybody wants House of Cards, Aya Kazan, so I think a lot of people are going to have to settle for a second best option in at least one of those spots.
Exactly. There's also Priory of the Sacred Flame on-use trinket, which is also very good.
Soul Letting Ruby as well, if you want. Although Priory is a lot easier to farm.
You just go Priory.
That thing is very bad now. Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, there are 5 bosses in Theater. With, I think 13 items on the loot table.
Yeah.
There are 3 bosses in Priory with 5 items on the loot table. You go to Priory and farm the trinket up. You don't go near Theater of Pain. I would not go anywhere near that place. I'm still scarred.
Funnily enough, Theater of Pain I think also has 3 rings.
Ooh,
I remember that. Yeah.
2.
I think it's 3.
Yeah, Theater is definitely. I mean, if Ruby was good, it's fine, but there are better applications out there. And like when you can infinitely farm Priory with 3 bosses and also being better, just go Priory. Right? I think Priory is actually almost arguably more beneficial.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Than House of Cards at times.
Oh, you mean like just comparing the trinkets?
It probably depends on your specialization. I know that for Moon can a mastery heavy spec House of Cards was much better than Priory, but
Priory is just your highest secondary stat. You stack mastery. We can do that. Could be.
I mean, House of Cards is just way over budget.
That's fair. That's fair. Fair enough.
And you don't care about the 1.5 versus 2 minute thing as Moon can.
I don't think many do.
So it's like whatever.
Ooh, we got a little bit of a Windwalker POV here from Trill. A season where he doesn't have to PvP at least, it looks like.
Yet.
Yet, yeah. I remember, I guess it was last season he had to leave after the first week, right, to go...
Well, AWC was so closely attached to the Race to World first.
That's not true this time, right? So is he just able to, is he able to do the full race this time?
I think AWC starts next month or something?
Okay, yeah.
We could be here.
That's exciting.
The people's Twitch Primes also would expire probably if we made it that far.
That's true.
That's true.
Have to re-up. Stand in Earthen Wall. Big. That's a PvP weak orb if I've ever seen it.
Okay, Earthen Wall is overpowered, very overpowered in PvP. I would say completely useless, but much less good in PvE.
Definitely
for sure.
not warranting an emphasis of that size in PvE.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. This is actually going to be a little bit close here, as we are having about a third of the raid now on the floor.
I don't think it's too bad if you have a bunch of your helpers dead at the
Yeah,
very
the good
end
news
of
is
this fight.
you still got 3 garbage rollers, even if half the raid is dead. So
yeah,
as long as those players don't die, which you can die as you're getting put on your garbage, that's very bad. Ooh, luckily Trill does get targeted here, so he's going to be able to do this mechanic. Making sure not to roll into that bombshell.
Oh, gets yoinked. Double
three of them are in the same quadrant. That's a little bit scary now.
He's got a whole field of garbage here, though. It's okay.
Yeah. Actually, looks like they have 4 garbage rollers here as well. So
that's what I was looking at.
He might be the boss bomb here, depending how long this goes.
Yeah, he's not big enough to hit that one.
He's not.
Gotta get some more trash.
He's gotta get to 200 to be able to hit that.
He's juiced. He's juiced. Hit it. Come on, Trill.
Boom.
He got it.
Oh, they got it. Okay, that was
close.
That was very close.
No reaction. Stoic. That happens though.
Yeah.
Like at times you just miss like small pools. People going come up in front of you and like, well.
Yeah, if all 3 people are in the same area, it's very bad because like 2 people will be getting a couple of small ones each. Nobody gets to medium-sized. It's very, very potentially deadly.
It looks like it scales with raid size a lot, and you get, it's a lot more lenient the more people that you get on this fight.
Well, if there's less people but similar amounts of garbage, then you get more garbage per person, perhaps, right? Might be a little bit less. I don't know what the optimal raid size would be for this. That's one of the big difficulties. Like, imagine trying to make this fight for Flex Mythic. It would be almost impossible. But yeah, there's only about 10 of them left. Trill taking a lot of damage here. Gets stunned. Somebody rolls over him. 3% on the boss. I think it is a wipe. Oh, no. It's a 3% wipe there. 10 minutes of time during the Race World First gone on Heroic. These things add up. That's going to hurt.
That'd be terrible in the TGP.
Not true.
These bosses aren't mechanically that challenging, I feel like, but their health is...
That's a lot of health.
On Heroic.
Yeah.
For every boss. Like, walking in the normal, they steamrolled these. Heroic's a step up for sure. I can see why Melee Mechanics said, hey, whatever, to one-arm bandit.
Yeah.
Looking at this.
30-man splits at 639 item level is... It's a lot.
It's as hard as it's ever going to be.
Staring into some Sprocketmonger pre-pull.
Oh yeah, we could go take a look at
Maybe
the other split
here?
now.
Yeah, I believe the Sprocketmonger is being pulled here as well.
There it is, Sprocketmonger lock and stock.
Yeah, so, I mean, this fight...
boss that they're fighting here.
Painsmith, Hans and Franz, Black Fuse-esque bomb spawning here. So these 4 circles on the floor here, these are the foot bomb boots, correct? I believe Drat knows what they're called.
Yeah, so
Blasters,
basically,
I think.
you need to explode these, and you need to not explode 2 at the same time, and you can only explode 1 per, like, phase. You got a vulnerability that prevents you from being able to do another until after the next intermission, basically, or until 2 minutes pass.
Right, so you can assign these for the most part in Heroic to the same 4 people popping them in the phase, right? Or same 8, depending whenever the boss phases, give or take.
Yeah, you can have the... you need 12 total people,
12,
I think, to do the exploding
but
on Heroic.
You can assign them for the most part, and it's not a big deal.
Whereas on Mythic, you get polarities assigned to you that change throughout the fight, and so you're going to have to be a little bit more reactive. Although there's still a lot of opportunity to have sort of a general timing of when you're going to go that, you 90% of pulls, you might be able to do the same one.
Yeah. And besides that, you're dodging rockets. These screws in the back are called screw-ups, which if you get hit by one, you're literally labeled a screw-up for 10 seconds and are stunned. Rockets are coming in. The maggots in the belly here will pull you in one direction when these rockets are firing at you, so you have to, like, dodge with that. There are just holes in the floor, which I've fallen through during raid testing at times. Bombs to dodge. It's intense.
Yeah, I mean, there's also an intermission phase that you didn't even talk about where the boss
yeah.
leaps to the end of the conveyor belt, and you have to, especially whenever you have the polarity mechanic, which knocks players back, it's a lot more difficult. But you're going to probably see all of the melee DPS run to the far right side here, and the ranged DPS are probably going to run straight at the middle, and then be able to hit the boss from afar.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. On Mythic, there are some foot bombs that spawn on the opposite side of the room as well when you get pulled in the intermission, and the question is how are you going to pop those? So that's going to be a puzzle to solve when you get there. Maybe Gateway solve that, because mages can't blink one every time, depending on what polarity they have assigned to them. So
Mythic, I think, is something that a weak Gore is going to
screw up.
Do a lot of heavy lifting in terms of telling players who is going to go soak which mine where. And a lot of people... Oh, wow. A lot of people are actually getting killed off by the ground effect, actually, just during this intermission phase.
Yeah, those swirlies do disorient you for 2 seconds when they hit you as well, so it can be pretty nasty. You can see the healing requirement is non-zero on anybody who's taking extra damage in this phase. Big healing absorbs on everybody right now as well, which makes this even more lethal. Does look like they're going to get out of this intermission, but yeah, a lot of players dead. You can see disproportionately from groups 4, 5, and 6, which are the helper groups.
Yeah. All the helpers going down, I mean, is that going to... That feels like that's going to stunt our boss damage by a substantial amount.
Yeah, it's a question of now what sort of damage check are we looking at on this fight on Heroic.
Yeah, boss is at 60% right now. That's easily 2 more intermissions. Keep in mind, every intermission the boss stacks, I believe it's 15% damage increase on himself. So and
also an ability gets empowered after each intermission. So those lasers, the little red lasers we had in the previous phase are now these big purple lasers.
Yep.
A lot more difficult to dodge.
Now, there's also an issue of you're going to run out of people that can potentially soak mines as well because of the 2-minute debuff, right?
As long as you have, I mean, they're probably just having Liquid Raiders do that anyways, and you just need 12, so I think they're still going to be okay with that.
Okay, so it's just 12 that they're going to need?
Yeah, you only ever need 12 on Heroic, I think.
Looks like they have about 15 Liquid Raiders still alive here, so should be... It's doable. You know, it's gonna be hard to coordinate that kind of thing on the fly, but it should be...
Yeah, it's also the first pull, but I mean, like I feel like you can probably stagger along a good bit here, as long as there's no hardened rage in the boss. I don't know
that is the question, because I worry about the DPS check with this many players dead for sure, especially at this level of gear, right? This is the kind of thing where maybe if we did this in a couple days, you know, a bunch of people just have random upgrades and stuff that make this easier, but as a day 1 endeavor, that is the question. We do still have like 6 helpers alive, trying to get us through this.
Not bad.
Check out the big bang.
Boomy there, currently DPSing this split on a Prot Warrior, or tanking this split rather on a Prot Warrior, and DPSing.
DPSing the split, your comms.
Yeah, a lot of damage on the Prot Warrior.
Yeah.
Got a couple more deaths. It looks like Tobo in some danger here as well.
Probably going to survive.
Yeah, I mean, we should see the intermission coming up in a minute here when that boss...
Actually, I don't even know if we had any more deaths. I think it was just the group switch from horizontal to vertical.
Yeah, this tour is going to get tough. This boss is going to jump basically right now.
Yeah, here comes this next intermission.
Yep, this is where that big damage is coming in those orbs as well. We need to get through here.
Ooh, they changed the knockback from testing. On testing, it would knock you to the wall.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it just knocks you away from the boss.
This is actually this is honestly even scarier because whenever you're getting knocked back from the boss, like you said, during testing, you get knocked to the wall and you wouldn't take ground effect damage almost immediately. Where now the ground effect spawns instantly, and so you can take a couple of ticks of that ground effect the moment you get knocked back.
That changes things a lot. Go ahead, Dranos.
So now we have another empowered ability. I think it's the rockets that are now empowered in this phase. And when they hit somebody, I think they're going to do AoE raid damage now.
Oh, like a lot of AoE raid damage or like a medium amount of AoE raid damage?
That's a great question, Tuttles. I haven't done this raid yet, so we'll have to see.
We did it during testing, right?
Well, we killed the boss at this point before the rockets came out during our heroic testing. So yeah, I'm not sure what that mechanic's going to look like. Here come the inventions. Let's see what we got. This should still be the lasers first.
It's going to be lasers into Void Barrage. Yes, the fires, they're rockets that are...
Okay, here we go. Yeah, the
Void. There you go, right there.
So instead of rockets, now we have these lasers.
Pulsing,
and each time they hit somebody, they're pulsing, yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of raid damage. Wait a second.
And somebody to screw up. Oh my gosh. No, I know the feeling.
This is going to be a real tight finish here. We now have a couple of Liquid Raiders dead as well. 3 helpers alive, 4 Liquid Raiders dead. Any more players starting to die here, and we're just going to not have enough. More of these orbs now being shot at the raid.
Well, so the boss was at 45% HP going, like, during that last phase, during that last down phase after the first intermission. And You know, I think that we only conquered 20-ish% during that last phase. I think we're going to get another intermission even.
I mean, the question is, what happens to the intermission? Is the boss become empowered? Because there's no third ability that's empowered here, from what I'm seeing in this journal. Like, the lasers and the rockets are empowered. There's no third ability being empowered after the intermission.
Might be unprecedented.
I don't think we're going to see that here either way, because we're slowly bleeding out, but...
Yeah, this is so sketchy. The magnets and those void orbs at the same time here. Imagine doing this with 30 players alive as well. That would be so much dodging to do.
This is one of those bosses where a large raid comp is definitely more punishing than others, for sure.
Didn't see that coming.
I mean, it's a close pull.
Yeah, I mean, for a first pull, 20% in the boss like this is not bad.
I think that that's something that as well, like, you know, a second pull after everybody's seen that, they lost so many people to that first intermission phase.
And even if you still end up dying later in that fight, if you live for an extra minute or two, that's, you know, a couple more million damage done to the boss. That's very nice.
Precisely.
And the knockback has changed from PTR. Which is actually the intermission phase, which is really different. That knockback was previously, it would like
it would take you to the wall.
Yeah, so that changes Mythic strategy probably a crazy amount. You can totally angle where you're being knocked with your polarity, so...
I think it's going to allow for a lot more melee uptime.
Yeah, and you can have your whole red group and whole blue group getting knocked to the same spot, which will be nice.
All right, now speaking about uptime, I think our time is up. Yes, but that's not going to stop us from shouting out our sponsors for this great event. We have Coinbase, Honda, Secret Lab, Monster Energy,